All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to American Orthodoxy. I'm your host, as always, Benjamin Michael. I'm happy to be with you today. I got an awesome show for you today. I've had an insane last week and a half or so I'm going to go over that with you. I'm going to be giving my firsthand account of the Sean Strickland event that occurred at UFC. We're going to get caught up on Israel, everything related to Israel. We've got a lot going on as far as that front. Trump is not too happy with old Bibi, and we have some events that occurred around UFC that we're going to be covering. A Cornell student that was busted for some quote-unquote anti-Semitism, so we're going to be covering that. But first and foremost, if you guys would please leave a like on the live. Also, subscribe if you're not already subscribed to my channel. I'm working on getting my clipping campaign up, so we're going to be driving traffic over here. I got approved for the clipping. I just need to actually pay for the campaign now. So if you want to support that, you can either send in a super chat or sign up for members. My memberships here on YouTube, that's the best way to support me regularly. Also, I do regular members-only live streams. I'm going to be doing one after today's stream, and I think I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys who it was that I saw at liturgy on Sunday, because I posted yesterday that I saw a UFC fighter. I don't want to post it on my main platform. I don't want to violate his privacy that way, but I will tell a couple of you guys, those of you who tune into my members only live stream, so you can sign up for memberships and stick around today, and I'll let you guys know who it was that I saw. And Lord willing, he'll be public about it, soon anyway. So anyways, all that being said, please like and subscribe. Let's push this stream out to the algorithm, and we'll kind of dive into some of the news this week. So those of you guys who don't know really who I am, I was just on Tim Pool last week, which glory to God for that. I did try to bring up Israel a couple times, and Tim kind of blew past it, which ended up working out because I didn't want to kind of burn that bridge yet. I wanted to be able to get on his platform for another debate, which looks like is going to be happening. I'm going to be debating a Muslim scholar by the name of Hassan Shibli on Tim Pool's show. We're just working on locking in dates right now, and then Lord willing, we'll have that. And then an even bigger platform is looking to host me on a debate around Israel. I don't want to give you guys any of the details on that yet, in regards to who I'll be debating and in regards to where the platform is, because none of it is confirmed yet. However, it is looking good, and it's looking up, and that would be a massive debate. So those are kind of the two issues I'm looking to debate right now, is Islam and its compatibility with the West, and then / immigration. Immigration is always something I'm willing to debate, and that's basically what I talked about with this Brian Shapiro guy on Tim Pool, was to immigration. We're going to be going over that information, and then of course anything surrounding Israel or the JQ in general, I'm willing to debate all that as well. So let's dive into. We got a busy show today, a lot going on in the world, so I'll get you guys caught up. One of the things that I want to offer with this show is, current events, and covering current events from, trying to cover from an Orthodox perspective. I'm no Orthodox authority, nothing like that, but I am an Orthodox Christian. I do care about these issues. I know that you guys care about these issues, and you have valid concerns. I have valid concerns too. And so the whole point of my show here is to offer sort of an Orthodox framework to these current events, because the reality is, my goodness, it is desperately needed for an Orthodox voice in the current absolute shit show that's going on in the world. So yes, if you would please like and share the live. But I want to show you guys this clip that was kind of going relatively viral this morning from Trump.
Israel's fighting Hezbollah too long, and too many people are being killed. And you don't have to knock down an apartment house every time you're looking for somebody, because there are a lot of people in those apartment houses, and they're not all Hezbollah, that I can tell you. And I suggested to Israel to let Syria take care of Hezbollah. Because to be honest with you, I think they do a better job of doing it. And I didn't like Syria. I didn't like where 2 hours before we're signing the agreement, that there was an attack in Lebanon, in Beirut.
Yeah, he posted on Truth Social about this as well.
Like in the southern side.
Ben Shapiro was crashing out over it. So was Mark Levin.
I did not like that. I let them know that. I didn't like it, not at all. But I think that Syria, he's pulled that country together amazingly quickly. He's very capable. And he's been very good for me. He's protected everything that I've asked for, he's done. And
so a little bit of a context of what's going on here. So basically, Trump claims that he signed an agreement with Iran, and it was a memorandum of understanding. Now, what's interesting is Israel, it's being reported now that Israel actually requested access to this memorandum, and Trump told them no. That's what's being reported right now, is that Israel wanted to kind of look over this memorandum that was signed, and Trump said no. And that was him talking about, sort of their excessive use of force in Lebanon in particular. Now, we've gone over in the past the Dahia doctrine, which again is literally their doctrine of disproportionate force. This is like, there for anyone to look up. I can for those of you guys who haven't seen this, I'll show you here. If you don't believe me, I want to always show you guys my receipts. The Dahia doctrine, Israeli military strategy, advocates for the use of overwhelmingly disproportionate force and deliberate targeting of civilian infrastructure. So that's sort of the concept of, how Israel kind of operates, that Trump is criticizing in that particular clip. And now we're seeing a little bit of backlash from Israel on this. There was a clip of Ben Shapiro crashing out. Mark Levin has been crashing out. So those are all good signs, of course. But this one was very interesting because this is a former Israeli intel officer. And he's actually talking about maybe some of the leverage that Israel has on Trump. And so I found this clip to be interesting. So I'll show you guys.
What will pressure Netanyahu to release the real information that no one has at the moment?
In my opinion, if there's a real deal between the Americans and the Iranians, and it's going towards that, Netanyahu will try to sabotage it. One of the ways he'd sabotage it is by putting out Epstein material against U.S. government officials, including Trump. And he put it out there. New material that wasn't seen before in public.
So it's not just Trump. I know that Howard Lutnick is mentioned. There are other officials.
Not just Trump, other officials too. Yes, and
I mean, Lutnick is in the current files that are available, and that's one of the that is one of the reasons why Trump has taken a lot of heat over the Epstein stuff. But you can see here, I mean, this is a prior Israeli intel officer that is explicitly telling us that, hey, if and when a permanent deal, because with this right now, the deal that Trump locked in, which actually opened the Strait of Hormuz, which glory to God for that. The current deal is only for 60 days right now. It sounds like it's just a 60-day ceasefire. And so it seems like that clip is in reference to maybe something permanent. And what he's telling us is that what Bibi's going to try to do, if and when they try to lock in something permanent without Israel's approval, quote unquote, is release more of the Epstein file information that is currently not available to the public. Now, whether or not this is just an empty threat or if they legitimately have blackmail is obviously a question unanswered at this point. However, it is interesting that they are explicitly telling us, the very thing that I would get labeled. I point out this stuff on this show, guys, because I get labeled a conspiracy theorist for saying the same things that intel officers in Israel, that governing officials say, that high-level officials, and sometimes Netanyahu himself, say this stuff explicitly. And I, of course, get labeled a conspiracy theorist. The same is true for a lot of the Great Replacement stuff. So that's why I like to show you guys, like, this is literally coming straight from the horse's mouth. Like, sometimes it's literally from Bibi. But in this case, it's from an intel officer in Israel. So Israel is not happy with us right now. Now, simultaneously, you guys may have seen, I want to play this video because it's a good,
on
it's
Twitter
a good
right
summary
now for telling a Jewish startup owner
of kind of the event that happened with this this Cornell student. So I'm just going to play this clip by a good friend of mine, Ian. He's a good dude. He's a Roman Catholic, unfortunately, but it's okay. I'm working on him. I'm actually going to have him on the show probably because he's a good dude. But anyways.
19-year-old Austin Franco is going viral on Twitter right now for telling a Jewish startup owner that I don't want to work for a Jew. It's interesting to me because you think you just have the decorum if you were really an anti-Semite to just not say anything at all to a Jew. And also, if you were Jewish and somebody said this to you, wouldn't you be relieved that you like dodged a bullet? You know, because you'd think, man, this guy really doesn't like me on account of like, you know, my race or heritage or identity. I don't want to work with that guy either. The co-founder of Palantir, Joe Lonsdale, the Israeli, came out to help dox this young man and then send all this information to the New York Post to try to ruin this guy's life. And then Leo Terrell, the director of the Department of Justice's Anti-Semitism Task Force, said, let's make him permanently unemployable. Now, Austin Franco goes to Cornell. Why is a Cornell student saying to somebody, hey, I don't want to work for a Jew, okay? I don't care if you've had bad experiences with them. I don't care what you personally believe, obviously. I'm just saying, don't you understand how that looks? That's why this smells fishy to me. By the way, Franco is a—
See, the reason why I'm playing this clip is because I want you guys, so everyone is sort of reacting to, hey, this kid's life is getting ruined over this, you know, quote unquote anti-Semitic remark. And I'm trying to get you guys to see past it because
Jewish last
it is
name,
fishy.
Sephardic Jewish last name. Now, it can also be French or Spanish. What's interesting to me is that such a small company that came out of nowhere, really, with 2,000 followers on Twitter, suddenly attracted the attention of the co-founder of Palantir, the largest government contractor for intelligence and information sharing. Now, of course, I'm not saying that everything is orchestrated. I'm not one of these people who truly believes that everything is a conspiracy. I think that's kind of stupid to think that way. But some things like this seem a little artificial. But if this story is true and you are a teenager at an elite university and you don't want to work for a Jew, maybe don't email them, I don't want to work for a Jew. 19-year-old Austin—
Yeah, so there's just some things about this story that seem a little bit fishy to me. Now, of course, there's the normie reactions as well, kind of from both sides. And you know what's interesting is like, you know, Jews regularly will publicly state that they will only work for another Jew, or that they're specifically hiring Jews to combat anti-Semitism. And so, you know, of course, that never, you know, meets any headlines or receives any flack. Now, look, what this kid did was obviously irresponsible. And, you know, like maybe don't like come out and say that you don't want to work for a Jew. I mean, maybe it was good marketing tech. I mean, he's blowing up now. So, I mean, that's the thing too. Oh, someone also pointed out, like, you can tell anti-Semitism isn't a big problem when like this story is as big as it is, right? Like this story like has blown up, and it's like this is their token like act of like anti-Semitism that the media, especially the right-wing media, ironically, is using as like to demonstrate that you know, anti-Semitism is still this huge problem. And I'll show you this clip from Fox News that I thought was interesting from, you know, the party of free speech. Not so much. Not so much.
Einhorn, one of those owners of that company, Emily, that we just watched, he said, I felt bad exposing him because I thought he could have made a mistake. And
by the way, he's the one she's talking about is, I believe he's the one, it was either him or was one of the other owners that just a couple weeks ago was literally saying that he wants to, like he was like hiring a Jew because this guy only wanted to work for other Jews.
Really doesn't believe that wholeheartedly. I'm glad we know this individual's name. I'm glad he was exposed.
Indeed, and the brothers are so generous and graceful, certainly more than I am, because I do want his life to be ruined. I agree with you. It is a permissive structure. And parents, what are your children putting out there? What are the people that have been in your household putting out there online and to their friends? What has been fomented? Because clearly there is a disconnect. Somehow this person learned that there is an audacity that you can have with this anti-Semitism. That's what I found so shocking. Guy and I toured Poland together last May, and whenever I see things like this, this, it harkens me back to our trip, where apparently there's been no evolution since World War II. That deep-seated cultural hatred that's been allowed, that's been fostered, has somehow reignited here among the youth. And it is sickening. Cornell needs to take greater steps. So do parents, so do online forums, and somehow this 65-pound vessel of hatred needs to know that not only is this not okay.
Well, and also, like, how often do people make public comments saying they don't want to work for white people, right? So, like, there's clearly certain demographics. You know what's interesting is, like, Fox News, ironically, right? Fox News is supposed to be this free speech platform, right? And yet they're the ones that are trying to cancel this individual.
But it's not acceptable socially, because clearly online and among those kid groups, I keep saying kid, among the youth, they have learned that it's okay, that it's right to have this anti-Semitism. It felt sickening for me to just quote him, by the way. To just say those words, quoting him, felt sick.
This reminds me of, like, when Erica Kirk was talking about how, like, the only time she was able to, like, to muster up some genuine tears was when she was talking about anti-Semitism and, like, how much it breaks her heart.
Interested to see if Mr. Franco gets a job. Does anyone hire this guy? I really want to follow up on this.
One quick thing, because Emily, you invoked our trip to Poland, and in Europe in pre-World War II, that era, it didn't go from everything's fine to the death camps in Auschwitz overnight. There was this slide that happened, and this is an echo here that we.
Oh my goodness. So anyway, so that's our boomer Goyslop here, talking about the issue. And you know, this is the thing. No, almost nobody actually believes in free speech. Like, almost nobody. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, there are a lot of I believe in blasphemy laws, for example, and so did the founding fathers. And so, like, you know, there are very few free speech absolutists, you know, in the country, let alone in the world. And I say let alone because America is supposed to be like this big free speech, you know, advocate, right? But what's interesting to me, right, is like these people are supposed to be the free speech absolutists, right? And they are the ones that are speaking this way. Like, they want his life to be ruined because he said he doesn't want to work for a Jew, right? And yet people every day get jobs, no problem, saying they don't want to work for white people, right? Because that happens pretty much every day. I mean, you have things way worse being said about white people, right? You have people advocating openly for the eradication of white people in academia, right? There are courses that students go through that are about removing your whiteness, right? Mitigating your whiteness. How to properly be an advocate against white privilege, you know, these type of things, right? And so there is open rhetoric against white people, significantly worse than a student saying he doesn't want to work for a Jew, right? But how often is that really covered? It's really only on like shows like mine. It's like far right, like super niche, like shows. Like, those are the only people like talking about that kind of stuff, right? All the anti-white rhetoric that is just completely normalized. And it's only on like shows like mine where we actually talk about it. I'm not saying I'm the only one. I'm just saying it's sort of like obscure channels that like talk about this stuff. It's not mainstream media, right? It's a random dude in his basement putting together these compilations of all the articles like calling for the eradication of white people, right? And it's only guys that are like in the far right spheres that are really talking about it. And then a Jewish individual kind of said the quiet part out loud here. Again on Boomer Goyslop network, otherwise known as Fox News. I'll play this clip here because this is kind of funny.
Jillian, when I was coming into the studio, I was thinking, what can I compare this to? Do you remember the movie Planet of the Apes? The human people that came to the planet. All of a sudden, you're weird, you're the killer, you're the rotten person, because they believed in all the evils that was unproven. To be a Jew today sometimes is like the humans that come to the Planet of the Apes and meeting people like him and like, where did you get this from? Why do you think this way? And it's almost impossible to talk to these people, to reason to these people, because hate is an emotion.
So to be clear, in his little analogy here of Planet of the Apes, The Jews are the humans in this analogy. So what does that make us? What does that make the Goyim, right? We're the apes. We're the animals. So we're the animals and they're the humans, right? In this little analogy. And you got, Shabbos Goy next to him, literally just nodding along to this. Like it's nothing. Like she didn't just get called an animal. like, what are we doing here, guys? Like, what are we doing? We're just going to sit here and allow ourselves to be called. I mean, we already know this is what your Talmud says. All right. But like to come out and say it on a mainstream network, right? Say that we're animals. Like that's pretty wild. That's pretty wild, man. It's pretty wild. Anyways, so that's what's going on with that Cornell University student. They're trying to ruin his life over saying he didn't want to work for a Jew, which again, I don't recommend. I don't recommend emailing a Jewish company and telling them that you don't want to work for them because they're Jewish. I don't recommend doing that. You got to hide your power levels, as they say. I saw some funny comments earlier. Everybody's arguing in the comments about Roman Catholicism. Yeah, I mean, listen, guys, the filioque literally like rhymes with gay, okay? It rhymes with gay. And you guys think you're like a serious church? No, I'm just kidding. No, the better argument, listen, this is one thing that I tell people, or I ask people, like that are like Roman Catholic, or they're convinced of Roman Catholicism and they're pursuing, catechism, RCIA or whatever. I'm like, do you think that there's a single church father, right? I'm talking about any church father, like one, who, if he saw the Pope publicly celebrating a Hindu feast, for example, because that just happened a couple months ago, which, by the way, all the Roman Catholics in the comments, make sure you guys book your flights to India. Those book up pretty quick. So make sure you book your flights to India to go celebrate the next Hindu feast with your Pope. Those guys, they book up real fast. So just make sure you get those booked. But anyways, do you think that if a church father saw those, right, that they would think anything other than he's gone apostate? Immediately they would assume, and rightfully so, that they've gone apostate, right? But we're talking about every pope since Vatican II has celebrated some sort of pagan, or blatantly, definitely blatantly heretical, but most of the time, like pagan level error, right? That type of religion. We saw pretty much every pope celebrate one of those ever since Vatican II, right? Every single church father would automatically assume that they are apostate if they saw that, like without exception. And every single Roman Catholic, then the honest ones I talk to, they admit that that's true. I thought this comment was funny. So we could get a deal with Iran and more info on the Epstein files. Talks about a win-win. Yeah, seriously. And then I saw another comment from a dear sister here, where, I pointed this out before. Okay, like they're the only ones who get their own word for racism against not even the black people don't even get that. The black people don't even get a special word for racism against black people, right? So it's just the Jews, and it's interesting. But anyways, all right, let's move on. We got a bunch more current events to go into. We got some crazy stuff with Eric Trump we're going to talk about. My goodness. You guys, probably a lot of you guys already saw it. But anyways, I'm just reacting to the comments. So there was unfortunately, a B-52 bomber crashed. It was either yesterday or the day before. I don't know when it actually happened. It got reported yesterday. Yesterday morning is when I saw the first reports of it. This was out in Southern California. A B-52 bomber crashed and killed 8 Americans. So pray for their souls. Pray to the Holy Martyr Varus for their souls. He's the patron for non-Orthodox that perished outside of the faith. But literally, like right after this happened, these chats get leaked from some Israelis in their Telegram chats, basically saying that the Americans deserved it. They deserve it. I hate the United States no less than Iran. This is the actual chosen people language of it. So anyways, so that happened yesterday, and those chats are obviously disgusting, and I play them I show them because this is actually a sentiment. It seems like just about any time, anytime anything bad happens to the U.S., you have Israelis that are cheering, and actually they've done a phenomenal job because the Israelis cheer, and all of the Muslim nations that also hate us also cheer, and so like they both hate us, right? It's just that only one of them has us duped into supporting them with billions of dollars every year. So yeah, anyways, very sad. Pray for their souls. It's very, like you guys, a lot of you guys know I did 7 years in the Marine Corps, and I know people that died in plane and helicopter crashes, and it's very sad every time it happens. Unfortunately, it seems like every couple months it happens. I tell people also, like, don't fly private. I know this was military, but like, do not fly private jets or helos, man. Definitely rotary wing. I personally never want to get on a helicopter, bro. Like any helicopter. I've done it before in the Marine Corps, and I don't ever want to do it again. Helos are so sketchy. All right. So a lot of you guys may have seen this stuff going on with Eric Trump. So I want to show you guys what actually happened. I'll kind of break down the timeline here. So, first, this random. First of all, his account name is pretty hilarious. But this was the random guy who first posted these tweets. Basically, this guy leaked some DMs of Eric Trump supposedly reaching out and asking him if any of the fights were rigged. He goes, "I'll just cut to the chase. Are any of the fights tomorrow rigged? I've been eyeing the Lopez fight, and I think an upset wouldn't be too unrealistic." So this guy tweets this, immediately deletes it, but there's still a link. So on Twitter, how it works is if someone deletes a tweet, but if someone saves the link or they quote tweet it beforehand, you can still see like there was a link. So this post, it is real. Like the post itself is real. And he basically tweeted afterwards. We don't know why. We don't know if it was because Dana, threatened his job or what. But afterwards, Daniel came out and said, why are people this stupid? So basically, he didn't like officially deny or say like what the narrative is about these DMs. But he did basically just like, attack people's, IQ. Basically said, why are people this stupid? So he said, I was hacked or something. There was a video of him where he goes, I was hacked or something. So it seems like he's kind of making this up on the fly. They didn't really think this through. And I'll show you the receipts for this because this is where it gets really bad for the narrative. So they decided to go with that they were AI generated. That was sort of the narrative that they decided to go with. So Eric Trump tweets this and says, "We are aware of fake AI generated screenshots being circulated online. I have never spoken to Daniel. He has since deleted his post, which confirms it was clearly fabricated." Now, this tweet got community noted, saying multiple journalists and eyewitnesses confirm Daniel posted the screenshots himself before deleting them. Deleting a post from a verified account does not confirm fabrication, and participants in a conversation cannot fall for AI fakes of their own direct messages. So they went with AI generated as a sort of a cover for this, or that's the agenda that they're pushing. But the problem with that is, how can they be AI generated if Daniel leaked the screenshots, right? Like, how could he fall for AI generated like DMs, like from what is clearly the real account? Like, it's just hard. The narrative right now is a little bit challenging to put the pieces together. I guess like the most charitable would be that Daniel was hacked and the hacker posted AI generated DMs. That would be sort of like, but that's not what they're saying. That's not what they're claiming. They're just claiming that they're AI generated. And so they're kind of like putting the pieces together like post hoc. And then what made it worse is Eric deleted this tweet. So after saying that it was AI generated tweets, he then deleted it. So this got, let me see if it shows how many views it ended up getting. It doesn't, but he cut it off with a screenshot. This got millions of views. This got millions and millions of views. A lot of people saw this, right? He was up for a good, almost a full day, I think. And then it gets taken down. And so now at this point, it looks like they're just going to try, they're just going to wash their hands of it and watch it blow over and just say it was a fake conspiracy. It doesn't seem like they're actually going to answer our questions about what really happened. So basically, that's what went down with Eric Trump. Is some highly suspect tweets, and the narrative was just horrible. I think what happened was like he must have fired off a tweet before talking to his PR team. And that's why it was so bad and it didn't make any sense. Because even if what they're saying is true, the way they're presenting it, it literally makes no sense. Like, it makes no sense. What do you mean they're AI generated, but we know that he actually posted it? So was it a hacker that posted it? See, if they had gotten their story straight, if they had been like, hey, Daniel was hacked and, and the hacker posted these AI generated, screenshots, it's like, okay, that actually makes sense. But like the way they're presenting it, I had to piece it together. I was like, okay, so they're AI generated, but the post is real. And so how did Daniel fall for AI generated DMs? And he sort of mentioned in passing, I was hacked or something. It's like, okay, so I guess the most charitable narrative here is that he was hacked and the hacker posted AI generated DMs. That's the only thing I can possibly think of that makes any sense. But either way, like, it's a total shit show. It was horrible PR. Even if what they're saying is true, like, it was just terrible PR. So, all right, we got a few more things to cover here before we dive into some of the stuff that happened with Sean Strickland. I'm gonna show you guys some of the footage that I got firsthand. But first of all, and by the way, I was at the fight with some buddies, and we weren't actually in the like inside the actual fight. So inside the actual fight, you basically only had like some select. It was invite only. It was only invites from Trump, right? So you had very few people that were actually inside watching the fight. Most people had tickets, and even these were hard to get tickets to. Like, congressmen had tickets. We had like Nancy Pelosi's tickets because someone went around asking staffers who wasn't going to be going, and they got their tickets. So we were able to get Nancy Pelosi's tickets into, at least that's what we were told they belonged to. Into the overflow. And so that was how we were able to witness everything that happened with Sean, as well as, get, not first row seats to the actual fights, but at least to the overflow where they had a lot of events going on. But anyways, so today there's all this news coming out about a potential terror attack that was going to be going down. So I'll show you guys here.
Explosive-packed drones hitting buildings near the event, forcing a mass evacuation and steering crowds towards a pre-staged sniper team. A second wave was then planned to storm the White House gate. The FBI first learned of the threat last Wednesday and worked with law enforcement across multiple states to stop it. Joining us now on the phone, former FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino. Dan, thank you for getting on the air with us. What else can you tell us? This is quite a frightening and sobering discovery.
Well, notice the class warfare language amongst the plotters.
Yeah, whatever. That's some nonsense. But anyways, so there was this planned attack supposedly for this event. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I was at the event. I was watching the cops. Like, all the security was literally like watching the fights. They were not even paying attention to like the gates or anything. I was like, bro, like, this is insane. Like, I was watching the gates to make sure like nobody was coming in. Like, I had my head on a swivel for this event because they had security everywhere, but they weren't doing anything. And so I was very worried. I mean, thank God the FBI caught this before it actually happened, because my goodness, it would have been a complete shit show. Basically, it sounds like what these guys were trying to do. And by the way, they had like maps. This was guys from across the country that had this planned. And they were maps. There's screenshots of their plans that are being leaked. But so yeah, anyways, it sounds like what they were trying to do was send in drones, basically to cause a distraction to then force people out. And then they had snipers like staged to try to take out it was just, just a mass terror event that they were trying to do. I mean, doesn't really make any sense why they would want to kill all these civilians and target civilians if they were going after Trump, like they said. Because what it turns out, what they're saying, what is being reported that they said was that they wanted to attack Trump. They wanted to, teach Trump a lesson for all the Epstein stuff. That is what is being reported, which doesn't make a lot of sense why you would attack innocent civilians that were present. So that's usually how terrorists operate. The stuff that they do doesn't really make any sense. So anyways, leading into now, I want to talk about kind of my last week or so and how I ended up at the UFC event. So, and then I'm going to show you guys some of the Sean Strickland stuff, and I also want to give you guys some background on what's been going on with Sean Strickland. He single-handedly got me into UFC, bro. Like, I don't watch UFC, and like ever since he beat Hamzat, like I have literally been like paying attention to everything going on in UFC, and like that was such like a moral victory. And ever since then, I've actually like taken interest in UFC, and I think I will be going forward as well. I mean, it's pretty fun, especially because you got Orthodox fighters in there too. Maybe I worded it weird. Someone said Ben fought in UFC. Yeah. And like I said, I saw a UFC fighter at Liturgy. And if you want to find out who, you can stick around for the members only live stream. Yeah, it was like a month ago. When Strickland beat Hamzat, who was a Muslim guy. And there wasn't a single Muslim that fought on the card in the White House, which was pretty awesome to see. So anyway, I was at this apologetic. The reason why I didn't have any shows last week is because I was at this apologetics conference with Inspiring Philosophy and Fearless Truth. I was at this apologetics conference, and so that's why I was traveling Tuesday, and then I was traveling again. Really, Thursday is when I had to head to Tim Pool, and I'm going to be going over my Tim Pool appearance at the end if we have time. We're going to see how long it takes to kind of go over the Sean Strickland stuff, and then I'll go over my appearance on Tim Pool. So I was in the DC area for Tim Pool. His new studio's not in DC, but it's pretty close. It's only like an hour and a half away. By the way, it's literally like on this compound, and he's got like a full skate park there. Like his studio literally has like a full skate park. And so you literally like walk through this like warehouse that's been, converted into a skate park into the actual studio. But anyways, so I was on Tim Pool. Shout out to Rachel Wilson for getting me on Tim Pool. That was pretty awesome experience. Those guys are cool. We had a good time. And Tim was actually like shockingly based. Like I said, I didn't press the Israel issue too hard, because I do want to actually do a debate on Israel on his show. Although I might have an even bigger platform that I might be doing that debate on. We'll see how that goes. So anyways, I was on Tim Pool, and then my buddy hit me up. He was like, "Hey, dude, there's this event that we're trying to get tickets to the UFC on Sunday, and then there's this other event with some donors that want to meet some kind of up and coming politicians." And so I went to that event, and that's where some of you guys saw like me with Clyde on Instagram. We were shooting shotguns on this like compound. Here, I'll show you. Let me see here. Some of you guys, if those of you who follow me on Instagram, those of you guys who follow me on Instagram saw this already. But yeah, so this is, a lot of you guys know Clyde. Clyde's the GOAT. We love Clyde. Clyde gets a lot of hate for like being sympathetic to Muslims. But honestly, he's not as sympathetic as people make him out to be. This is Clyde. Those of you guys who don't know him. So anyways, we were shooting shotguns out at this event on this compound. It was pretty sick. Made some really good connections. Very white pilling. I'm not going to lie. Very white pilling. I'm not going to say who I was with, but some of these donors, guys, are waking up to the Israel issue. I'm not going to lie. Donors on the right that are waking up to the Israel issue and want to know how to help young people on this issue. Like, it was very white pilling. It was honestly very white pilling. And so I had a great time at this event. So anyways, I pushed my flight home back a couple days because I wanted to attend this event that I got invited to. Then we got then the whole thing with Nancy Pelosi and her tickets happened. And so we got tickets to the overflow for UFC. I was like, okay, we have to go to this. By the way, we ran into like some of the most random people. Those of you who are Marines, we ran into Dakota Meyer and Kyle Carpenter. That was pretty cool. I got a picture with Kyle Carpenter. Ran into I don't even know how to say his name, Usyk. He's like a Ukrainian boxer that just beat Tyson Fury a couple years ago in 2024. He beat him twice, actually. He's like a devout Orthodox. Like, he like trains on like monasteries. He goes to Mount Athos pretty often. We like ran into him. He was like super chill. So anyway, so that's how I ended up at the actual UFC event. And then I'll show you guys the footage that I got of. Well, actually, before I do that, I want to first talk to you guys about kind of what's going on with Sean Strickland. So basically, Sean Strickland, right now, he was the only American champ until after Justin won on Sunday, which we're going to also talk about. He's now another American champ. But Sean Strickland was the only American champ and didn't get invited. Not only did he not get invited, right? And this is where the UFC seems like they were lying, because Dana White stated that Sean was not banned from the event, but that he was only uninvited, right? That was what Dana White claimed. So we're at this event, right? We're Logan Paul and like some OnlyFans whore and some other guy. They were doing like a podcast on stage, right? And the OnlyFans whore actually like knows Sean, and I guess like the people in the crowd, like she's got like millions of followers, I guess. And so so the people in the crowd knew that, and so they were like chanting Sean's name. They were like chanting like Strickland, Strickland. And the people, like, he is the people's champ, like without question, right? And so they're chanting his name, and so she FaceTimes him, and he's like wearing a hoodie. He's like wearing this hoodie, and he's like I'm gonna sneak in. I'm gonna sneak into the event. And he was like walking like, just where the general public was, not with an entourage or anything, right? Thank you for the Indian tax. And so she FaceTimes him, and so we went to watch the gate. We were like, okay, so he's probably just going to come into the gate because he has a ticket, right? So Dana White's whole thing was, hey, he's not banned, he's just not invited. So Sean tweeted out the day before that he had gotten a ticket, right? So he was like, I have a ticket, so I'm coming. So anyways, so according to Dana White, he should be let in now because he was able to get a ticket, right? So he should be let into the event because Dana White said he's not banned. So he tries to get in. They don't let him in. So a fan, I think how it went down, we saw this van pull up, and we were like, that's weird. It's kind of like a weird van. It felt out of place. Turns out this fan, I believe, was a fan of Sean Strickland, and he was one of the workers who was like driving this van. And so like he snuck Sean in this van. That's what we know about how he actually got in. So we're sitting by the gate, like waiting for Sean to show up, right? And because this OnlyFans whore had FaceTime and was like, and so everybody knew that he was going to be coming. So like a couple of us went over to the actual gate to like watch, to watch him, to watch for him, right? Because I wanted to get some viral footage. I wanted to try to like interview him real quick, and get some like viral footage. So we were right there, and then so while we're over by the gate, we see like a swarm It did not feel staged at all. It was completely organic. No shot it was staged. And I'm going to refute a lot of that stuff here after I go over the footage. Because, yeah, there were some ridiculous comments talk about how it was staged and how he was, like, starting fights. It was all bullshit. All of it was bullshit. So anyway, so we're at the gate. We see, like, a bunch of people, like, swarming. There was, like, a makeshift ring that wasn't the actual. It was, like, where they had some, like, military guys, like, fighting later on in the event. But at this time, nobody was in the ring. Nobody was using it. Right. So we saw some some unrest going on over there. People were swarming it. So we run over, and there's Sean, like, in this ring, right? And everybody's chanting USA. I mean, the people, like, love him, dude. I'm talking about there was probably, like, 10,000 people in the overflow, and, like, over, like, half of them are, like, swarming Sean, right? So we run up, and it was just a total free for all. Security's going nuts. Everyone in security is, like, running over to this to Sean. And I'll show you guys here some footage that I got. Here. Hang on a second. I got to start it over. Instagram's always the worst, bro. I'm trying to show it from my Instagram. Just thrown out of UFC right here. Sean Strickland was just thrown out of UFC right here. So this is my video. I was literally right here. I was right in front of where this is all happening. And this was after, so for about, I want to say 5 minutes, he was just kind of running around in this ring, like, hyping people up. Everybody's chanting USA, USA, Strickland, Strickland. Then security comes over, right? Security comes over, and they're explaining to him, hey, and you can see him, like, point to the exit. They're basically explaining to him, hey, we got to take you out. We're pushing you out. At this point, there are literally thousands of people, like, swarming this ring. So you can see they're explaining to him, hey, we have to take you out. And he's like, how are we going to do it? There's literally thousands of people, like, right there. Like And then I was right in front of him as he was thrown out. So you can see if you can see him. He's right there. See him right here? This is him. So I was literally, in fact, let me pull up, after I show you guys this, I'm in one of the photos that ESPN posted. But literally, like, I'm right here. So this is over here, over to the left, is where that's where the exit is that they were bringing him to. And so they're literally, like, escorting him out. Let's go, Sean! So then they bring him into, there's, like, a van over here that they end up bringing him into. But let me show you guys I'm actually in, like, one of the photos here. I sent it to, let me see here. I sent it to my brother. It's funny, my brother is, like, a big UFC guy, and I don't really care that much about UFC. So it's kind of ironic. So here's the photo. By the way, this goes crazy hard. So this is the photo, like, right after that happened, of him getting escorted. There's a van, like, down here, that he ends up getting put in. But you can see I'm right here. This is me right here, up in this upper corner. So that video I took, like, took place right here. And yeah, it was crazy, guys. Like, it was absolutely insane. Like, I mean, like, literally all happened, like, right in front of me. Yeah, and I wanted to refuse. So there was people like commenting on Facebook. By the way, I started posting my reels on Facebook, and like I'm like blowing up over there. It's like hilarious. I gained like 3,100 followers in like 2 weeks. Like it's pretty wild. The boomers are eating it up. It's mostly like leftists. They like the leftists love my like Israel content, and then they like hate my immigration content. So it's kind of funny. What was I saying? So yeah, I honestly, the adrenaline was pumping, bro. It was like a freaking mosh pit. Like it was like an actual mosh pit. And there was people getting like trampled, and I was like worried that I was about to get like trampled. And so I was trying to record while all this was happening, and bro, like literally right before he was thrown out, so like maybe 10 seconds before that last footage that I showed you guys, I was right. Like it was literally like 3 feet. He was 3 feet from me. And I should have freaking turned my camera around and done like F Israel or something. I don't know. But it would have gone crazy viral if I would have done it. But my adrenaline was pumping, and I was kicking myself after because I didn't get great footage of it. But yeah, so that's basically what happened. And then people were saying, oh, that's not the UFC event. And because it wasn't the actual, like the actual ring, right? Obviously. And so I had to explain. I was like, dude, like this is the overflow where like the public had tickets to, because none of the public had tickets inside, right? So there was no way he was ever going to get inside without an invite. It was literally by name invite only for inside the actual event, right? That was the only way you get tickets for inside the actual event. And so now I got to try to say not like literally, because someone's making fun of me for saying like and literally a lot. So yeah, we were not inside the actual event. We were inside the overflow, which is where all this went down, and impossible for it to be staged. I mean, like absolutely impossible for it to be staged. So anyone saying that it was staged, or saying that he was like starting fights or anything like that, is just absolutely insane. How am I low-key fruity, bro? What are you talking about? Someone said I'm low-key fruity. That's crazy. All right. So that was we're about an hour into the stream here. Oh, okay. I'm not coping. I promise I'm not coping, but I do have some comments to make about the main event. All right. I got some comments to make about the main event. All right. Because as you guys know, Ilia Topuria is a Georgian Orthodox fighter. Look, I'm not really on board with the whole like celebrating his win the night before that he does with all. I get that it's like a tradition he does, but like that to me is like some bad juju. Like I don't know what we're doing here. Like we're celebrating before he put 18-0 in his bio, like before the fight even happened. It's like, all right, bro, like what are we doing here? You know what I mean? But he's Orthodox, so of course I rooted for him. And he got his ass kicked. All right, he got his ass kicked. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. His opponent is 5'11", he's 5'7", so probably not a good idea for him to agree to the fight in the first place. However, I want to talk about this. So he, especially, I think it was in the second round, he had a chance to really win the fight. He took Justin to the ground in the second. I think it was the second round, wasn't it, guys? It's where he had him like in the corner, and like you thought the fight was about to be over. Like you thought this fight was going to be done. And oh no, is this not going to load? Okay, never mind. We're good. You thought this fight was about to be over, and he ends up taking him to the ground. It was a terrible, terrible move. But so basically, it looked like he was going to win. It looked like he was going to be winning the fight, right? Well, this happened, and it affected his vision. I'll show you guys this here. So you can see Justin literally like he throws a punch, right? I mean, he's got his thumb out, and he's trying to cut his eye, right? Or at least around his eye. So what ended up happening was he had to call the fight because he literally couldn't see. So Justin did this to both of his eyes. And so by the time we got to, they almost called the fight after the third round. But they did the fourth round, and you could tell. I mean, he's swinging and missing, basically all of his punches. And so it's like, look, good on him for, he didn't complain about anything. There was a report that some of his team, it doesn't look like this is official. It's hard to tell. It was reported today that his team did say that he threw up twice before the fight. I don't know if there's anything to that. They were saying that, there was some foul play with that too. But this alone to me is pretty crazy. I mean, he's clearly going for, he's trying to cut his eye, right? That's clearly what he's trying to do here. And it worked. It worked. And so props to Ilya. Look, maybe this loss was, bro is fighting up. He said his left eye was closed in round 2, round 3, his right. So maybe this happened in round 3. So that would make sense then. That would make sense if this happened in round 3, because that was really when he started to lose the fight. Like we said, I'm pretty sure it was round 2 where I thought the fight was over. He had him in a corner and was just beating up on him, and he took him to the ground, which was a huge mistake. And after that, it pretty much went downhill from there for Ilya. So our Orthodox king, I'm not coping. Props to Justin. He is an American, so, that part was fine. I would be much, after Sean Strickland tweeted out, after that, let me show you what he said. Because this was kind of how I felt. By the way, Sean Strickland's Twitter is hilarious. Look at this shit, bro. Oh, he's got a paper plate and a brick wall, bro. This shit is so funny. But here, let me find the tweet I'm talking about. He tweets so much though. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. So he goes, we all got to be honest with ourselves and admit we were secretly excited that Justin won. Yeah. Basically, after he said this, I kind of felt okay with being a little bit happy to see an American win. Yo, he was like a 6-1 underdog. Strickland against Hamzat was a 4-1, 4 or 5-1 underdog. But Justin against Ilya was a 6-1 underdog, and he still won. So as an American, it's like, you know what I mean? So anyways. Oh, sweet. So y'all remember at the beginning of the stream, I told you about the debate that I might be doing on Israel. Well, so I'm not going to tell you the top goy that I'm debating. I'm not going to tell you the platform I might be debating on. But what I will say is that something just happened that's going to potentially make it happen. It's a bigger platform than Tim Pool, who has 3 million subscribers. It's a bigger platform than that I'd be debating on. So I'll tell you that much. So anyways, Sean Strickland's our boy. We got to convert him to Orthodoxy, Lord willing. Like I did tweet out, there was somebody who did attend liturgy, and I'll tell you guys who it is at my members only stream. So if you want to stick around for my members only stream, I'll tell you guys who it is. I don't want to post it publicly. By the way, if any of you, I won't be doing any good stuff for my members only if someone tries to leak that afterwards. So don't even think about it. You're gonna ruin it for the rest of the people. All right. So I wanted to go through some of my Tim Pool stuff. So I did go on Tim Pool. I skipped. So I'm doing a favor for you guys. I skipped the first hour because it was super gay. We were grifting Luigi. We were talking about Elon being the first trillionaire. It was super gay. And so I'm going to skip to an hour in. So I was literally debating with a Jew. Brian Shapiro is his name. And you guys have probably seen him quite a bit. So I'm going to skip to the relevant part because there's some really good clips in here on immigration, where he and I have a back and forth. Up to this point, I had a few clips, but it's not a platform that will pre-record and edit the debate. No, it'll be a legit platform, I promise. So anyways, let's get into this this last hour of the relevant clips here of Tim Pool.
Trump falsely claims, which is every day he falsely claims something, but millions of people who voted illegally cost him the popular vote. That is a lie. If you're illegal, you are not allowed to vote in a presidential election. That is a lie. Doesn't that bother any of you guys?
He didn't say illegal people. He said people who voted illegally.
Right, but I understand that. But
then why do Democrats not want ICE at voting ballot?
That is weird.
Sure, I'll answer that. Because I think it's intimidation.
Of who?
Yeah, of who?
Why
would a legal immigrant be intimidated?
Why should ICE be at those? Why?
Why would Democrats be afraid of it?
Well, but answer my question. Why?
Yeah,
to prevent illegal immigrants from trying to vote.
Okay, so illegal immigrants cannot vote, and I will tell you this.
So it's actually quite simple.
Can they try?
No one should care.
Can they try?
Anybody can try to do anything. Okay?
Great. So what's wrong with having ICE there?
It is okay. First of all, if you're a family,
we have guards at
I'll
banks.
give you an example.
People can't steal money from
banks.
banks.
Let's just say you're the mother. Let's just say you're a mother and you're not voting. You're undocumented.
This guy is insufferable, by the way. That's why I skipped to the relevant part, because the whole first hour is him yapping. And by the way, he does this thing that leftists do, where all they do is bring up Trump. Like, these people do not know how to engage with our actual arguments. All they do is bring up Trump. You'll see.
You're there with your kids that are old enough to vote. Mom wants to go with the kids and watch them vote, whatever the case may be. I would imagine a lot of people would be very intimidated, and they wouldn't go there and they wouldn't vote because there are ICE agents there.
Hold on. Intimidated by law enforcement?
Wait. Your example is some kids that have birthright citizenship from an illegal mother. That's your example.
Anchor babies.
I'm giving you.
That's your example.
I'm giving you examples where I have talked to people that would be intimidated.
They shouldn't be voting. It absolutely insane, bro. That was his example, bro. He goes. But what about the children of illegals who have the right to vote? Like, bro, why do they have the right to vote? It's insane that they do. That is an insane interpretation of birthright citizenship. The fact that that's even a thing is absolutely insane.
Right,
to be frank.
So criminals
agree.
Yeah,
stay away.
There are people that are very.
Should banks have guards?
Yeah, but
why? But you're not allowed. You can't take money from a bank.
You can't take money. Illegals can vote.
Where is the evidence that undocumented immigrants, so many of them are voting illegally?
By the way, Tim was shockingly based on the immigration issue. You guys will see. He and I had only one back and forth, like one disagreement. Otherwise, he was like super based.
Oh, but the argument is it doesn't matter.
That's not the point.
I'm going to say this. You are right. They don't vote. So who cares if ICE is there?
Do you understand the point that I'm trying to make, though? The point that I'm trying to make is
criminal aliens might actually.
I think I saw some stat that like 26 people voted illegally that were undocumented in this country, and I'm in 2024, and I'm trying to figure out why ICE. I think ICE agents should be used in
completely
better
agree.
positions.
I'm trying to figure out why Democrats are mad about ICE agents being at a facility.
I'm not mad.
Door to door and rounding up
I never
illegals?
said I was mad about it, but what I am saying is I can understand why some people might feel uncomfortable. Okay,
I can understand that there are people who believe illegal immigrants are voting, and this will make them feel better. And I think the feelings of maybe these people are stupid, but if it makes them feel better, then what's the harm?
Well, okay, so I'll tell you what the harm is. Don't you think those ICE agents could be used in other areas in better ways to be serving this country and doing what they're doing than standing around
door-to-door raids?
Sure, that's true. But my answer is no.
So that Phil guy, he's a total Trumpy. He was actually kind of funny in this debate though, and actually Tim even I can't remember if it's in this second half, but he even said we need a better president. He also criticized Trump quite a bit in this
because government is built on confidence, and if the American people in a large portion have no confidence in election, we need to restore it. Otherwise, elections stop mattering.
I agree.
Don't believe
undocumented immigrants are not allowed to vote in this country. Why is it I hear all the
time? I also agree people aren't allowed to murder.
Well, yeah, but how many undocumented immigrants have been proven that
how many investigations have we had?
I mean, if Donald Trump and his, you have to have evidence though to prove that somebody undocumented voted. And I'm telling you, I think there were 24 cases or something like that. And
how do you get the evidence?
Yo, someone said Tim is friends with Brian. That's true. I'm not gonna lie. Brian off camera is actually pretty cool. Don't attack me, guys. Don't attack me. Off camera, he was really chill. He was so chill. I was like, dude, this guy's like the chillest dude ever. Like, and he did kind of pull a fast one. He like brought up something I said, which I was fine. Like, listen, I'm never gonna say something around a leftist that I can't defend. So like, I was fine with it. You guys will see when he does it. And I don't really think he was being facetious. I think he was literally just like trying to debate me on something, and he was trying to get me involved in the conversation. So, but he was actually like really cool, like off camera.
Well,
maybe like
if
a lawsuit.
If the accusation is, because I hear a lot of people on the right constantly talking about, well, the only reason why Democrats want all these undocumented immigrants in this country is so they can
Thanks for the super chats, guys. As always, I will go over the super chats at the end.
take food stamps and welfare, and they can vote.
Via anchor babies.
And so they can change the composition of congressional districts.
Conservatives are led by very dumb people. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to single out the Republican Party, but the Republican Party is very dumb, and they have a lot of people who are ignorant. I don't want to blanket the conservative voter as stupid. I think the politicians are evil and stupid. I think the Democrat politicians are evil and stupid. The issue is when an illegal immigrant comes into this country. Under the Biden administration, it's a great example. He was flying them to various cities. In the census, these illegal immigrants cluster around cities, which results in more electoral college votes for Democrats, and it results in more congressional seats for Democrats. Not because they vote, but because they pad the census numbers. It's estimated that if you were to remove all illegal immigrants, Democrats could lose an estimated 4 to 12 congressional seats. So when you combine redistricting with current redistricting, with census redistricting in 2030, and illegal and mass deportations, the swing is expected to be somewhere around between like 10 to 20 seats that Democrats will lose. So one of the mistakes made, there's an organization called Third Way.
Do you guys understand the point he just made? That's a crucial point. So basically what the leftists will do is they'll bring up, hey, not very many illegals are trying to vote, so why are you concerned? Well, what they do is they skew the electoral, basically the electoral, well, not necessarily the electoral college, but they skew the redistricting, right, in the favor of the Democrats, which I guess could have ramifications on the electoral college. But the main point is that the disruption in our quote unquote democracy isn't from them trying to vote, but rather in the well, it also is in them trying to vote, but primarily it's their effect on redistricting, which gives the Democrats more seats because it treats those that populate those areas as voters.
And they say, we debunk this. The idea that Democrats get more congressional votes or electoral college votes because of illegal immigrants is wrong, because Texas is red and they have illegal immigrants, and California is blue and they have illegal immigrants. And that's how you lie to people. This is the academic machine of lies. The reality is the illegal immigrants in Texas are known to be clustered in Austin and Dallas and Houston, which are urban districts, which doubles the size of the Democrat districts. So Democrats are gaining seats because of illegal immigrants in Texas, and they are gaining seats because of illegal immigrants in California. So to an argument, there's one reason why people shouldn't like the Electoral College, because Democrats would actually lose a lot. But the point is, conservatives, Republicans come out and they say illegal immigrants are voting. And this is the stupidest thing, because it's not true. They do vote sometimes. Sometimes they get caught. Sometimes they don't. I don't think millions of illegal immigrants are voting and swinging elections.
Yeah, the stat, that's another good point. So the stat that he brought up about, the illegals voting, oh, there's only this many illegals that vote. It's like, well, how would you know if they were able to successfully vote, right? How would you even know? So those are just the ones that got caught.
They're not. But they are giving electoral college votes to Democrats illicitly.
Again, I think of a family that has some maybe undocumented people in their family. I think of the news. I think of,
you mean a criminal?
Do you think of the children?
Do I think of the overwhelming majority of ICE agents as bad people that just want to kill people? Of course not, right? But when you see the images on television and you see what happened to Renee Good and Alex Preddy, there are some people in this country that are very intimidated by those images and those videos, and I could absolutely see some of these people not voting for that reason.
Hey, listen. All right, listen. I didn't say it. Okay? Katie said it. All right? I wasn't the one who said it. I just want to point out that Katie made this comment in the comments, and it wasn't me. All right? It wasn't me. I'm just putting it on the screen for you guys to draw your own conclusions. All right, that's all I'm saying. This is literally the meme. This is literally the meme. This is, oh no, a crying baby. We can't have a society anymore.
Exactly.
Like, this is literally the meme. What are we talking about? I gotta find the meme now.
I'm talking about
You're talking about illegal, but you're talking about families that have undocumented immigrants being intimidated because they have because they are criminals. They're not supposed to be here, and we're incentivizing them to come here by giving them birthright citizenship for their children, which is also
so you're
a problem.
against birthright citizenship?
100%. I'm against the current interpretation of it because that was the author of the 14th Amendment.
Why the straw man?
Amendment explicitly said it wouldn't apply to aliens, and so that's not the intention. That is what is been. That's what's.
So do you think everybody should be deported? Let's just
everyone, all the illegals.
Nobody gets
with
to
me.
be.
I'm out of here. Fuck this shit.
I believe it. Well, first of all, every illegal should be debanked. That's the first thing. That's a
great idea.
Yeah, no, that's the. I cannot believe we haven't done that yet. Yeah, so I basically have like a three-phase remigration plan. The first would be illegals, and it's very simple. You debank, and then ICE can take. Here we go. I found it. No. Hang on a sec. This is literally what he. Oh look, a crying child. We must throw away civilization. Crying brown child. Wow, look, orange man bad, racist. Open borders now. This is literally what he did. This is literally what he did. Literally the meme, bro. I'm so dead. All right. Care of the remainder, which is not very many. Secondly, first generation migrants, and actually I would extend this to third generation as well, because there's a lot of these communities, like in Minnesota, for example, with the Somalis, right, where you have literally like 3 or 4 generations of migrants that are here. They have not integrated whatsoever. They don't even speak English. They are not American, but they've been here for 3 generations. What do we do with them?
Why does that?
Well, hang on a second. Let me land this real quick. If we strip them, if we say third generation and newer are not eligible for welfare programs, almost all of them would just leave. Because the reality is 53% of first-generation migrants, according to the Center for Immigration Studies, 53% as soon as they get here are on a welfare program. That is insane. So we're not only are we allowing them to come into our countries on these garbage programs. Guys, should I clip this? Should I clip this right here and post it? Programs that are abused, but then we're paying them to be here, which is absolutely insane.
Oh, here. 90.
Totally agree.
When you talk about Somalis, I wanted to ask you a little bit about that because I wanted to get your thoughts.
Because you wanted to change the subject?
No, he's talking about Somalis.
No,
we're
he
talking
is going
about
to change the
immigrants. We're
subject.
talking about fraud.
That's exact. I didn't talk about fraud. That's the irony here. No, I'm not changing the subject. I want to talk about fraud. Did I mention fraud? In everything I just said, did I mention fraud? Did I even say the word fraud or imply anything about fraud?
Right, in this case.
I didn't bring up the fraud, but we can talk about the $9 billion in fraud that they also
denaturalize and deport.
So you care about the Somali fraud. Is that a fair characterization?
No, I care about American demographics and American identity, and I care about America First policies that prioritize. See how I didn't bite? See, he is used to talking to these magatards, right? Who like, oh, it's the criminal illegals who we got to get rid of, and I'm like, no, dude, this is about demographics. This is about American identity. Like, don't bite on their bullshit, dude. Like, we can talk about how they disproportionately commit these other crimes, right? We can talk about that. But first, we got to talk about American identity because that's the main problem. That's the main problem. It's like, I didn't get a chance to give this analogy, right? I didn't get a chance to give this analogy in the actual thing. But it's like, imagine, right? Imagine if your front door is open and like a stranger walks in, right? And like sits on your couch. And you like walk in and you're like, dude, what the hell are you doing on my couch? And he's like, I didn't steal anything. I didn't beat your wife up. I didn't kidnap your kid. I didn't take any of your money. Why are you making me leave? Imagine if that, like, just apply that now, right? Imagine if someone said that and then apply that at the national level. That's basically what he's doing, right? He's saying, well, they commit fraud. Well, so do these other people commit fraud. Do you care about those other people that commit fraud? Bro, like, that's like, and then that's even worse, actually, because that would be like if the stranger also was like, yeah, I stole some of your money, but your kid stole some of your money too. Are you going to kick him out too? Like, bro, he's my kid. Like, he's my problem to deal with. You're a stranger. Get the hell out of my house. Like, that's how dumb this freaking analogy
Americans
is. Or this,
who are actually
is.
American, they actually abide by American values, and they.
You think that's happening right now in the Trump administration?
No, I don't. I think that Trump is doing a poor job of that.
He brings up Trump. See what I mean?
Actually, I think that he's too pro-multiculturalism.
The reason why I brought up the Somalis,
Likes
and
gay
obviously,
people too. He does. He unfurled an LGBT flag.
He's like he parades that
I
around.
think this is important to talk about the Somali stuff for a moment, because I'm against fraud no matter what you look like, where you're from, whether you're an undocumented.
But I didn't even bring up fraud. You brought up fraud because you want to talk about fraud. I want to talk about demographics.
Okay. I don't want. But he's not talking about fraud. He was talking about how Somalis, multi-generational Somalis in Minnesota, collect welfare benefits.
Yeah.
Ilhan Omar explicitly stated they're going to send that money to Somalia, and that if you just said, okay, well, you're not eligible for welfare, up to a certain generation, they would leave.
Yep.
He didn't bring up fraud.
This is legitimate welfare that they're taking.
I understand that, and I'm not.
Yeah, so this is twofold. They're on legitimate welfare programs and they're committing fraud. They're doing both. That's the crazy thing, bro. That's what's wild about this shit.
Sit here and defend Ilhan.
And everybody likes to talk about the black American population that's on welfare. Bro, did you know that even including the black American population, the immigrant population, specifically first gen, significantly higher rates of welfare. Significantly. I think the average for the American population is like 38%. The average for the migrant population is 53%. And for the Somalis, it's actually higher. For the Somalis, it's actually higher than 53%.
Omar, because I think she's a despicable human being. But with that being said, the reason why I think the Somali, is what's going on in Minneapolis is interesting, is because I hear so many people on the right that go after Somalis and the Somali fraud, and I don't know, this person might have stolen $10,000 in welfare from the government, so on and so forth. What about the over 70 people that have been given pardons that have committed billions of dollars in fraud and don't have to pay back any restitution?
Wait. Yeah, throw them in jail. I don't get I throw them in jail. I agree.
This is literally a deflection, though.
Wait. Okay. We'll wrap them up too with the Somalis and put them on a boat and send them to the island.
Yeah, or those people, they're Americans, so they got to go to jail.
They're Americans, they can go to prison.
If
they've been here forever, then that's our problem.
And then Trump was wrong to pardon
denaturalize or strip them of their citizenship and send them to the moon.
To Somalia.
Somalia, there you go.
This guy is kind of funny. This Phil guy, he's a funny dude, even though he's a total Trumpy.
Brian, we agree with you. They can go to Somalia with Ilhan.
Yeah, strip them of their citizenship.
Well, you could say Ilhan. I'm not a big fan of hers, but
the point is, this isn't about fraud. This is about America Last policies that are literally prioritizing foreigners who just got here over Americans who've been here forever, Americans who actually built this country. That's who we're prioritizing.
Wasn't this country founded on immigrants?
The entire phrase "nation of immigrants" doesn't show up until the 1960s, pushed by the Anti-Defamation League in a book that was attributed to JFK, not actually written by him. So that phrase doesn't even show up until the 1960s.
We should make it easier for people to come into this country?
Absolutely not.
So 10 to 15 years to become a naturalized
I don't think we should. I think we should close
that?
the border for the indefinite future.
Close the border, end immigration for 2 decades.
Yeah,
at least.
I would say I'd say 25 years usually, but I mean, same idea, about 2 decades
between you guys.
So 10.
Wow.
No, I think I do think we want.
This was the one thing that Tim and I disagreed on. We went back and forth on this.
Immigration. What we don't want is mass H-1Bs. We don't want cultural discohesion. We don't want displacement. We do want hand cherry-picked scientists, athletes.
But shouldn't those people be making their countries better? Because we're actually stripping their talent from them, and that turns places like India into a shithole.
I think that's the Christian position, to be honest. I think that God wants all nations to prosper. And so, yes, I'm an America First nationalist and, things of that nature. But I think that's like, for example, if I was Indian, I would want to make India great. Right. And so I think when we're stripping talent from these other countries, right, this is how we get India in its current condition, right, is because their talent goes elsewhere. So
I got no problem with the United States being the unipolar dominant power by brain draining other countries.
Okay. Someone asked a good question. Why close the border for 25 years, then reopen it? I believe that we can stabilize our demographics after that amount of time. So I think I
I didn't get a chance to do my full. I think later I give my full remigration plan. But after we're basically able to accomplish my full remigration plan and basically stabilize our demographics, I do think that like some levels of immigration are pretty much impossible to avoid. So I do think that I do think there is a precedent for it. I would prefer that those people, personally, I would prefer those people stay in their home countries and make their home countries great. But, I do think a couple 100,000 immigrants a year is not the end of the world, because you still maintain your national identity. And that's the big thing that I care about, right, is national identity. And so I think you can still maintain your national identity if you are able to let in, a couple 100,000 people a year. But yeah, if you guys wouldn't mind liking the stream and pushing out to the algorithm, please give the stream a like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. We'll keep going here. Why isn't China doing this? Like, why isn't China bringing in all these, scientists?
They are. It's called the Thousand Talents Program.
They're bringing in Indians.
Well, I probably the 1,000 Talents China is recruring.
Well, but you already granted you're against H-1B. You're against H-1B.
Yeah, it's miserable.
Yeah. Okay.
So
what?
H-1B is the lie where they try and tell. So are you familiar with like O1 and O2 visas and things like this? Extraordinary talent, scientists, researchers, business leaders.
By the way, there's way more than 4 likes. I think your thing is just not updated. I have about the same amount of likes as I do viewers right now.
H-1B is not those things. They claim H-1B is for the people who we can't find them to do this job. They're talent. No. Those are O visas. And there's a bunch of others. There's like Olympic athletes that I think that's like a K visa. H-1Bs are, we couldn't find anyone to take the job, so we'll take whoever we can get. And the trick that these companies use is they're supposed to make a public announcement of the job availability. If nobody applies, then they're legally allowed to recruit from any other country through H-1B if they, of course, there's a lottery for it. So what they do is they'll buy a tiny little ad in a newspaper to satisfy the legal requirement for public notice. Then when no one applies for the job, hire a guy at 70% of the standard wage from India and move him here. It's fraud. That is fraud across the board. And those are American companies doing it.
And it's worth noting that the H-1Bs are tied to employment. So the people that actually employ these people basically can treat them like absolute garbage.
Well, that's another thing. They're paid 20-30% less.
Yeah.
And
you better work on Saturday. It'd be terrible if you lost your job.
How many people are we talking about here? Because that's another thing too, is like, don't you agree?
Hundreds of thousands per year, maybe?
Okay, sure. But don't you agree that like we are in a position now where we need to close it at least for now to get things under control.
I disagree.
To get our demographics under control. Right now we are literally like, the immigration problem in America right now is bad. Even under Trump.
But my point is when we stop the general economic migration.
Yeah.
So I don't think we should have zero migration, but I think you and I actually probably agree to a great extent. I don't think a working class guy in Guatemala should be able to apply for a work visa to come to the United States at this point because of the issues we've had. So I have no problem with a general moratorium on economic migration. But if there's like a dude who's invented a new polymer that's going to revolutionize space travel or something, we got to steal those people.
Another problem that I didn't bring up in the moment, but another issue with what Tim is saying here is that these are the programs that end up being abused, right? So that's why you have to get rid of the program completely, at least for the near future, right? Because these are the same programs. Like, this is how this shit starts. You think it started? You think it started with the current infrastructure with H-1B? You think that's how we got here, or do you think it was a slow burn, right? We know it was, right? At first it was, okay, we're allowing mass migration from Europe, right? And then they took those same mass migration policies and they just released the quota requirement, and that's how, after the hard seller of 1965. And that's how we end up where we're at today, right? And so it starts with these little programs. That's kind of the problem with them.
I understand your point too, because it's a good point that their countries become shitholes because we take the talent from them. I actually am not bothered by the idea that the United States is a shining city on the hill of the best, brightest, wealthiest, and the other countries go down the bell curve of like worse, and we're at the top.
Me, that's like a less Christian view. Like that is, now Tim isn't, I don't think Tim is a Christian. But like, to me, like, that is not a Christian way of looking at things. Like, I think as Christians, like, we should want all nations to prosper, right? Now, we should want all nations to be Christian, of course, right? But we should want like their their ethnic body to succeed, right? And so we want that talent to stay there, right? To me, like, that is a more Christian position. And I've quoted Father Athanasios several times to you guys, where he talks about how the breaking down of borders is the work of the Antichrist, and how the borders are something that is temporal, that is to protect us from the universality of the Antichrist. Now, of course, Christ transcends these things, the church transcends these things, but by transcending them, he does not break them down, right? Like the Antichrist does. No, he sanctifies them, he baptizes them, which is why we have different jurisdictions that have different cultural traditions associated with them. So, yeah.
But what do you mean by better now? You're just talking about like technological development and like GDP going up. Like, what do you mean by better?
Because I'm not concerned about cultural discohesion from like 100,000 people per year into 300 million.
Yeah, I agree with that. But right now, cultural discohesion is what is exactly.
But
that's my entire
with deportations combined with general economic migration moratorium, we're reversing that. But I still think we want to leave the door open for legitimate top tier high talent. Like if there's a dude in India and his IQ is 210, and he's like, I'm going to build the best super semiconductor anyone's ever seen. I have a new invention. We don't want India to have that. We want it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want them to beat us in the space race.
I'm not opposed. Long term, I'm not opposed to a couple 100,000 migrants a year. I think I think that's normal. I think that's healthy for a nation. But I mean, I think just that right now, because of the little 911 situation we're in with mass migration, which you agree, I just think we need a blanket.
But again, so like, let's say we do a blanket moratorium, zero immigration, and then literally some guy in India is like, I've done it, I've discovered a new element, and we're like, shh.
I'm willing to take that risk if in return I get my America First policies, we get Americans taken care of, and we fix our demographics.
Are we doing that now?
That won't happen.
So here's the other thing.
It's not a one and done thing.
The reason why I'm not for just I'm talking like a 90%. You're talking 100. So Elon's building a semiconductor factories. We've outsourced. One of the problems with everything we've done in the past 30 years is outsourcing of a lot of our higher talent jobs. We have Taiwan building most of our semiconductors, which has left us vulnerable to China. We need those here. It's one of the reasons why I think SpaceX is actually going to go way up in value, because Elon's talking about building a semiconductor it's called like Terafab, I think, semiconductor factory in the U.S. We need to reintegrate top technological talent, engineering, et cetera, which we gave away. So we have a twofold problem with, we're bringing in too many Guatemalan farmers. They can't replace middle managers. And we've exported a lot of our high-tech jobs. I went to a meeting with an app development company.
There's certain technology, like, listen, I guess I haven't thought about this. I haven't thought about this in depth, so let me know what you guys think about this. But like, do we really care about technological development that doesn't help people? Like, what is the actual pragmatic benefit to like something like space travel? I don't know. Just throw it out there. Like, where is the pragmatic, benefit that this actually does to people? Because if you're building something that technologically is boosting American wealth, the not welfare programs, but welfare of the people, that's a technological development I would be for. But just technology for the sake of technology, does that really matter? Is it really something we should be prioritizing? You know what I mean?
There's a guy in an app that I was working on. Most of when we're like, okay, we need to hire some developers, they go, oh, Ukraine. Just hire Ukrainians in Ukraine, not in America. Because you got to pay them $60K a year. You hire American, it's $150.
Well, yeah, and that's that. Policies need to be in place to incentivize hiring Americans, bringing manufacturing to America. All these things are part of this.
But so, to my point is, we import our semiconductors from Taiwan, and there's Taiwanese specialists.
Which is why we're defending.
In the short term, exactly. In the short term, we might want to take 3 or 4 of their top talent.
By the way, what he just said, that's literally why that's why we camp a carrier. I was on that deployment for one of them, where we camp a carrier right outside of Taiwan to let China know that as soon as they attack, we're ready. That's the reason. It's because of the manufacturing that we're reliant upon there. And if we just brought it here, we wouldn't have that problem. We wouldn't have to defend Taiwan from China.
Bring them here to oversee a factory so we can reintegrate.
Let's talk about solutions on what we do right now.
Yeah.
Okay?
Sure. Close the border.
So I understand. Let's talk about the people that are already here. So I think the last stats I saw a couple of years ago was that more than 50% of people that are in this country undocumented, and this might have changed,
are
those that overstay their visas.
Yeah.
So here's my
round them up.
Okay, so
debank.
So you come from the cloth, which is you committed the misdemeanor. You're in this country illegally, even if you haven't committed a violent crime in say 30 years. You have a family here.
Even if you've
Everybody
never
just
committed
get
a
the hell
violent
out.
crime.
It's not even about. It's not even about
bro,
that.
Bro, that's so brilliant. The debanking thing, I never even considered it.
I know, that's the
Imagine
first time I
someone
thought
comes
about
in
it,
for a visa,
Problem
and
is-
like hold on. Let's say someone gets like a 2-year work-live visa. When you apply for a bank account, they should attach your visa to the account and say, "That's
cool.
Your bank account has an expiration."
This
date.
is a great. I added this to my remigration plan because this is a brilliant idea.
Yep. And when it expires, you get mailed a check.
And if you
That's
want
it.
to
No,
update your bank
when,
account,
when
you
it
have to update
expires,
your
you have to take that money out and leave. And if you don't, the bank keeps it, and that
point
money
was,
goes to the Federal
when they-
Reserve or to the Treasury.
They'd
goes
have-
to the Treasury to
they'd
pay
hold
back
it
the
until-
debt, right?
When
They'd
accounts
hold it
get
until you
closed,
get it
they
transferred.
mail the balance to whatever address is on file.
Not for these guys.
All right.
Well, I don't want the
But
government.
hold on. The reason
books
why
to steal.
I think it's funny what you're saying, but there are people who would have a visa expire and intend to leave. We can't just seize their money if we want them to leave. They need money to go.
You got to put because they know when their visa expires, right? You've got this. You got up until this date. You have to get your money out.
Then agreed. There would have to be like a multi-notice system where it's
Sure,
like
sure.
3-month warning.
Sure,
your visa's
sure,
set
yeah.
to expire. Your account will be shut down.
Sure. I mean, look, man. You get
E-banking
annoying.
is brilliant.
You get annoying text messages and annoying mailers all the time. You can add those.
I'm telling you, most of these problems would solve themselves. Like, and then
you disagree with it?
I mean, it's an interesting theory.
Well, because we're not talking about deportation. We're saying your visa
It
is
will
an agreement.
self-deport.
You can be here for 2 years. Why should they be allowed to have an American bank account after that? And then, they'll just leave. And
Or have the money shipped to a foreign.
it's like, listen, guys, I support ICE, but like, there's so many other ways that we can get these people to leave. Like, you can be extremely harsh on, and I bring this up, you can be extremely harsh on businesses that hire these people. That's another thing, right? You incentivize hiring Americans, and if someone gets caught employing illegal migrants, like, you have brutal penalties on these businesses, right? Like, there's other ways you can get them to leave other than ICE.
and we're saving money on ICE.
send it to the
then
Treasury.
we don't need the ICE agents anymore. I mean, this solves everything.
And you should also make
Well,
it.
you need ICE. You need ICE for the remainder. You would need. Really, ICE would be. It would be for the anomalies. It would be for the few that didn't leave.
And I also
it should
think
also
it's the
be
least
illegal.
cruel option. This is like
exactly. Yes.
You come into the country, we welcome you in, and then when your visa expires, your accounts expire with it. And then you have to refile or leave.
Let's
Hold on 1 second. And also, I saw that the DOJ is actually going after some people that employ illegals. Those people should definitely go after
Deport them
employers.
too.
Oh, literally, those
they
guys.
should go after them.
Deport Donald
And
Trump?
also,
They need to be harshly fined,
Absolutely.
and probably jail time.
To green
Yeah,
light.
I mean, there needs to be harsh.
And also, anyone that rents to illegals,
Yes.
they should be
Harsh penalties.
They should be harsh penalties
100%.
because you're harboring criminals. So they should. This is how you.
This is
fix
literally, and you
immigration
as
problems.
a liberal
it's like
or whatever you call
misdemeanor
yourself, this is how you mitigate the exploitation of low cost migrant labor. This is how you mitigate that, because you're getting them out in a humane way, right? So that the economy is not taking advantage of them, which is something that you disagree with. We all agree that's bad.
There's
Wait,
no
I
ICE
got a question.
raids.
Yeah.
What if we actually create visa accounts?
By the way, Tim told me off camera too that he loved this idea. He was like, "Dude, I can't believe I didn't think of this." Like, I've been saying this, bro. I've been saying this. Like, all the ICE stuff is extra, bro. It's so extra. Like, we don't need to be doing this. Like, there's just so many other ways that we could be getting rid of these people. And also, by the way, like, everybody always deflects. They're like, well, what about the business owners that are exploiting this labor? I'm like, yes, throw them in jail, bro. Throw them in jail. Like, yeah, we can fine them, but like, after the second offense, bro, you're going to prison. You do this twice, you're going to jail. Like, that is what we need to start to do with these people that are exploiting these human beings that we're bringing in, paying them, unlivable wages, right? Like, yes, throw those people in prison, bro. People that are doing that. And a liberal should eat that up. A liberal should agree with that.
It's not a bank. It's actually an account through the government. Sure. If you are coming here, so what this does twofold. When these workers come here, they can't get paid under the table. I mean, you can, but what you want to do is you want to create an easy path.
What do I mean by harshly punished, like being sued? No, I mean like a penalty. So first you get fined. So if you get caught employing an illegal, you get fined. You get caught a second time, you're going to jail. I literally think we should be that harsh about this. Like, you go to prison for doing this, and that will, other business owners will see that, right? Other business owners will see that, and they will not hire illegals. They will not take that risk.
To not having that happen. We don't want illegal workers. So when you come here with a visa, you get an account attached to it with a bank account so that we can make sure they're paying taxes they're supposed to pay. They're getting paid the amount of money they're supposed to be getting paid, not getting ripped off. And then when their visa expires, the account is just gone with it. It's a one of the problems we have is they'll come in and they'll just work under the table.
Yep.
So how do you get rid of that? Well, you don't get rid of it through punishment because they're already breaking the law. You get rid of it through incentives. How do we stop people stealing music? We made it easier to stream music than to download music. So you make it easier for them to get paid through an account.
I see what he's saying as supplemental. So we also should incentivize, we should find ways to incentivize, the hiring of Americans, right? I mean, that's another thing too. Like, other than just penalizing, the companies, like, even if we remain, if we keep all, some of the work visas, like, now I'm talking about for the legal migrants that are here, I still think we should incentivize, employing Americans that are already here, right, over the work visas. Because what ends up happening with these work visas is companies, they start taking advantage of it, and that's why they pay these Indians that are coming on H-1B, which, by the way, there was just a report by Newsweek that like 80 to 90% of those are fraudulent. I made a video about it on my Instagram. You guys can go see. But the reality is, like, they're paying 20, 30% less, right? They're paying them 20, 30% less. So how do you mitigate that? Well, you incentivize the company. You either get rid of the visa program altogether, or you incentivize the company to hire regular Americans.
Taxes are collected properly, wages are paid properly, less illegal hiring because it's easier just to use the account. And then when your visa expires, the account is gone.
I was talking about harsh penalties for the employers and
agreed.
And the
you get caught paying under the table, you get lashes.
You think it's humane what they're doing right now?
Don't care.
What
you don't care if people are treated like animals? You don't care?
I want people to be dissuaded from coming here illegally, dissuaded from staying.
But that wasn't my question.
If it takes some amount of military or a police force to do it, then yes, I'm okay with it.
Let me ask you.
Go ahead.
So you said people are being treated like animals?
Some are.
So what is the criminal line for when someone can be treated like an animal?
Great point.
We're all animals.
Like a guy walks into a mall and takes a kid, and let's say a black guy walked into a mall, went to the third floor.
First of all, don't break the law if someone's seeking asylum. Right? Don't break the law. Don't deport them. That's illegal.
For you. Let's say a black dude went to a mall. Went to the third floor, grabbed a little boy, and chucked him over the edge of the railing. Can you treat him like an animal?
You could certainly use deadly force to arrest him.
Worse than an animal, then. You can't just kill an animal, right?
That's a felony. We're talking about. I'm talking specifically about people that have.
I'm just going to the extreme end. We're walking.
Right, but I'm not talking about felons or serious what I would consider violent crime. We're talking about people who have committed misdemeanors. And I think when you send certain people that are nonviolent criminals, say to an El Salvador prison, treated like animals, I have a problem with that.
They're El Salvador.
Based El Salvador.
No, not everybody. That's not true. People that were sent over there, a good portion of them were not from that country.
Other examples?
Look it up. Look it up. What's the guy from Maryland? I'm forgetting his name.
That's actually incorrect. There is no guy from Maryland.
He lived in Maryland. He was from El Salvador.
I mean, the guy from El Salvador who got sent to El Salvador?
Right, but they claim that he was in gangs because of his tattoos.
Why is it America's responsibility to even ensure that they get back to the country?
Because there's something in our constitution.
But they came into our country, right? Why does it matter? Why does it matter?
Because
why is it our responsibility?
Why does it matter? So we can just be.
It's only our responsibility to make sure they get expelled. Like, if you come in illegally, right? We are just going to kick you out of the country. It's not our responsibility to make sure you get back to your home country. Like, that's how that works, right? This is our border to protect. You come into our border, it doesn't matter where you came from. You are expelled from. You are not welcome here in America. That's all our responsibility. Now, if we want to go above and beyond, which I think we should, to make sure they get back to the home country they came from, sure, right? But that's not our responsibility.
Humane to human beings? Is that your argument?
No, my argument is why is it America's responsibility to get them back to their home country in the first place, rather than just expel them from our country?
Well, hold on.
Send them to an El Salvador prison.
And away from America. They came here illegally.
Ryan is correct. 230 Venezuelans were sent to El Salvador.
230?
Oh, no. Why is it America's responsibility? I don't understand.
So send them to. Hold
on, real quick. Venezuela refused to accept them, so they were sent to El Salvador instead.
So it's your position that why is it our responsibility?
Yeah, I'm asking.
So if you've committed a misdemeanor and you've been in this country for decades and you're a nonviolent criminal, I know you don't care about brown people, but I do.
None of it matters.
None of that
Okay, well, to you guys, it doesn't matter.
It
doesn't
matter because if you don't have borders that are actually upheld, then you don't have a country, you don't have a nation.
So I want to make a few points. Abrego Garcia was adjudicated 2
It doesn't
times
matter that it's a
before this
misdemeanor. The point is that if you do not enforce your border, if you incentivize in any way people coming into your country illegally, and that includes granting them asylum, for example, granting them legal status if they've been in the country for a certain period of time, granting them legal status if they're nonviolent, all these things, you don't have a country anymore. Your country doesn't exist. That's the point. It's not about whether they commit a felony or not. It's not about the level of crime.
Member of MS-13.
I understand that.
It's adjudication. That's the process by which we say, okay, that is a thing.
60 Minutes story that I thought was some really good investigating. I believe the stat that I saw was over 60% of the people that were sent to this prison where they were treated like animals are nonviolent criminals.
I don't care.
So if you've committed a misdemeanor, you're okay with
Bro, it's El Salvador. Okay, listen. There's only one issue I'd entertain as an argument, and that is Venezuela refused to accept Venezuelans that were in America, so Trump sent them to El Salvador instead. There is an international issue at that point. But Venezuela refusing to accept their own citizens puts us in a conundrum that there's no good answer for. I'm not happy with us sending Venezuelans to El Salvador. But when we send Salvadorans to El Salvador, it is up to the country of El Salvador to deal with their own citizens. Yep. If they're treated like animals, that's unfortunate for them in their own country. But I can cite a million other countries that are substantially worse. Like,
China's the point is it's not the moral responsibility of the United States. That's the point. The moral responsibility of the United States is our citizens. Right? That is what they are responsible for. Okay? And so that's why this doesn't make sense. Notice how he couldn't answer. He couldn't answer, right? Like, why is this our problem?
Raping and forcing abortions on Uyghur Muslims, right? What China does
We're
to
not
its
the
own
world
citizens,
police.
we are mad about, but we don't intervene. I mean, I don't know what you expect us to do. If El Salvador has a law and a prison, and we send criminals that are El Salvadoran back to El Salvador, it is up to their country and their jurisdiction to deal with them as per their laws.
As long as everybody has, to an extent, of due process, then I don't disagree with you. But that's not what's happening within this administration right now. And I also talked about people that are seeking asylum coming from.
What due process is necessary for someone who is illegally here?
I got to address this because this is a liberal framing device, and I do not appreciate conservatives not understanding what's happening. Due process is not a proper noun. It's a definitional sentence. It is a definitional phrase.
So if
due process literally means the process by which an individual is due under the law and the Constitution.
If someone is seeking asylum and they're filling out the proper paperwork and they're going to their court dates and all that, is it illegal for us to deport them?
No. You listen. I am not playing this framing device game.
It's not
if
framing.
you come to a port of entry and apply for asylum, you may be granted it or temporary protected status. If you enter the country illegally, committing a crime, and then say, I want asylum, they can deport you.
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. But we know that there are cases, where they are seeking asylum and they're going about it the right way and they're following the proper paperwork.
By the way, you know what president you can thank for asylum to illegals? It's our favorite Ronald Reagan. You know, it's funny. I made a comment on my Instagram. Someone asked, Aiden, who's a friend of mine, was like trolling because we had this whole debate with this other Orthodox guy who's Gen X on Ronald Reagan, because I said Ronald Reagan is a bad president because he granted asylum to illegals, paved the way for that. He introduced no-fault divorce, which basically was crumbled our entire, building block to the microcosm of society, which is the family, particularly the marriage. And so there was this whole debate about Ronald Reagan. And so Aiden jokingly put in the comments thoughts on Ronald Reagan, and I said second best president behind only Woodrow Wilson. And a lot of people were taking it seriously because Woodrow Wilson is the most obviously the worst president in American history. Almost everybody left and right agrees with this, by the way, that he's the worst president in American history. He introduced the Federal Reserve. He got us in World War I after promising no new wars. Sound familiar? Right? He's a terrible president, right? But people thought I was being serious. They were like, "You like Reagan? Like, why do you like Reagan, bro? Like he was like he allowed no fault divorce and all the normal things, right? So it's kind of funny. So no, I don't actually like Reagan, but yeah, you can thank him for asylum.
And they're getting arrested right outside of courtrooms. That is illegal. Those are the specific cases.
You're talking about individuals who entered illegally and later tried to claim asylum to stay here. The due process in that circumstance, the process by which you are due under the law, based on the INA, codified by Congress, is that an executive branch judge, these are not judiciary, can issue an expedited deportation order regardless of your declaration of refugee or asylum status. If you apply beforehand and are granted TPS, then they cannot, because the process you are due is a hearing to determine.
What I'm trying to
Ben, who is the Supreme Court justice you brought up that interpreted U.S. as a Christian nation? It was Joseph Story. Joseph Story. And it's, other than the Federalist Papers, it is literally the most authoritative commentary on the amendments read across law schools across the entire country.
Tell you is that is also taking place, and you could look that up if you
and the existence of errors are regretful and should be stopped.
It's happening a lot.
Yes, I read super chats at the end. I read all the super chats at the end for the person asking.
But it's not the majority or the bulk, and it's not the principal issue.
Please like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe, guys. We got another like 40 minutes of the stream. So please like and subscribe, and then I'll be doing a members-only stream at the end today. So if you want to sign up for memberships, I'll be doing a members-only stream with some exclusive content.
It was the majority. I never said that.
The issue at hand is 90+% of the people who so during the Biden administration, I think the number was between 90 and 95 of the people claiming asylum did not have legitimate claims. They were crossing the border illegally, being placed under a bridge in Texas, and then CBP officers were being instructed not to ask them their claims, and they're being put on buses, trains, planes, and vans and shipped across the country. Then they were being asked when they arrived by NGOs what their asylum claims were. Then they were gone, and the asylum claims were determined to be at a high rate to be like false or incorrect claims, and they were already gone. So what the Biden administration then did was they just erased the cases. So where these people were supposed to go to court to follow up on the claims they had made, they became de facto second-class citizens in the United States because they were here illegally, but they no longer had pending action under asylum claims. This is psychotic. It's insanity. Deport all of these people and do not let people illegally enter the country. And if they overstay their visas, debank and deport.
Everybody that's undocumented in this country right now, regardless whether you have any other criminal record or broke any other law other than committing a misdemeanor coming into this country illegally, it could be 50
If you are asked, imagine,
real
quick.
They all should be deported.
Real quick. If you got a problem with the law, you can change it.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Also, imagine. Well,
what I was just talking about with you is the Trump administration.
I was gonna give
my
analogy right there, but I didn't get a chance to.
And even I just told you there are specific examples of people that filled out the proper paperwork, that have done it the proper way, that
Indeed,
are being deported.
And when errors happen, because they happen in every system, they're regrettable. They should be stopped.
You agree that that's also wrong.
You and I agree that if a person filed legitimate asylum paperwork at a port of entry, came in with protected status and were deported, we do have a problem. Agreed.
That is
the issue.
That's
is
all I was saying.
We hear from liberals all the time this phrase "due process," and conservatives who've not looked up the Constitution or understand what the phrase means think there's a proper noun that due process means a jury trial or a bench trial.
No, I don't think that.
Due process means the process you are due under the law.
Right.
Which means, as if you illegally cross the border and a CBP agent or ICE agent sees you, the process you are due is for them to apprehend you and drive you back across the border.
You know,
real simple.
I don't think that everyone that's here illegally should be deported. I think there's prosecutorial discretion, and sometimes ripping societies apart for the sake of the law actually destroys your society. Not all law is good. So there are times like you've been here 10 years, you have kids here. They are not priority to deport, in my opinion.
But that incentivizes it, though. Then people see that, they're like, oh, so if we can just last 10 years, we just have to make it 10 years, and then they'll let us stay. So anytime you implement policies like that officially, that incentivizes more illegal migration.
It's not official. It would be not on the books. You still can get deported if you've been here 80 years.
Okay, but people aren't.
But realistically,
yes, exactly.
You deprioritize the prosecutions of people that have been here.
People would still find out about it, and they would know that was an internal policy, even if somehow it wasn't on the books. I don't even know how how you would go about that.
Let me tell you guys a story that I've told a million times to this audience, and they're going to hear it again, but it's for you now. I got hostile environment training. Everybody wants to do it. Every young journalist wishes they can go to a heat session. And in it, we were told that for most of us in the training, we were Americans, but there are some people who are not. The final training scenario we did was that we were going to so it was role playing, right? We were going to interview a terrorist. They put us in SUVs. We drive to the terrorist HQ. And then right when we get out, they scream and run up with masks and AKs and kidnap us. They bring us to a warehouse. We can't see anything. We have bags over our heads, and we stood there for hours. It's actually kind of fun. Then they put us to a room and interrogated us. There's like a low light, like in the movies, and there's 3 guys in front of you, and they're like banging on the table. I had a lot of fun doing it. Then they put you back against the wall, and after about like 3 hours in total, you hear flashbangs. You hear doors kick open. You hear screaming, on the ground, nobody move. And dudes come in, tactical gear and guns. Mm-hmm. They put the scenario terrorists on the ground. Everybody stands there. Then they march us all outside, take all our masks, and they explain to us, if you are American and you are kidnapped, do as you have done. That you will be rescued. Special forces will be dispatched, and they will massacre everyone. The United States does not negotiate with kidnappers or terrorists. However,
unless you're Donald Trump,
if you are European, particularly if you are German or Spanish.
Yeah, bro brings up Trump in every single point that's made. Trump. As if like we're all as if we have to blindly follow everything Trump does, like as right wingers. I guarantee he didn't do that. He didn't do that with Biden. He probably didn't even do it with Obama. In fact, he admitted he didn't even vote for Obama.
To avoid these areas. The governments of Spain and Germany notoriously pay any amount to rescue their citizens, so you are high targets. If you go to the Middle East to do journalism, they will seek you out and they will kidnap you. If you are Americans, they will be afraid to. Like there are stories that I've heard, and they explained, because these guys were former special forces, MI6 British and things like that. And they were like, yeah, what happens is if they kidnap an American, in the middle of the night, a helicopter is heard overhead. Dudes drop down with night vision and kill every one of the kidnappers. So my point real quick is this. The reason I bring this up is that the United States has maintained the doctrine that you do not negotiate because it will incentivize. Mm-hmm. If we say, as you were just pointing out, if you last a certain amount of time, you can make it, then they go, here's our plan. We're going to hide, and we're going to be squatters, and we're also going to falsify documents claiming.
Yeah, but you don't. That's why I said you don't make it legal. You just say, hey, if you're here illegally, you're going to get deported. But then realistically, behind the scenes, you're like, we're going to.
And then what happens is it's reflected in enforcement, and the cartels go, here's your 10-year forged document. Mm-hmm. Once you get to Omaha, claim you've been there for 10 years, and they can't remove you.
Great point. So yeah, the cartels will find out, right? And then they'll just start forging documents to allow people to stay here.
Take them out.
I agree, and I disagree with some of what you guys are saying, but I want to ask you a question.
Here we go.
Because you had said something to me earlier off the air, which I completely...
Here we go. This is the part I was telling y'all about that he brings up.
Completely disagree with. You have a disdain for Muslims, and you believe, even if you're a legal immigrant, you believe all Muslims should be deported. Is that correct?
Muslims that are consistent with their religion, yes.
Because, what does that mean?
Because Sahih al-Bukhari 6922, which is a Sahih hadith, it's authoritative to all Sunni Muslims, states that they have to kill all apostates. So that means that they are held to the doctrine that if let's say a 20-year-old Muslim girl converts to Christianity, they believe, if in power, that she should be stoned.
So how do we police that? Because not all Muslims think that, by the way. So how do we police something like that?
They can live contrary to their religion, yes, but they have to be living
all
contrary
Muslims
to their
shouldn't
religion.
be deported.
By the way, I'm still working this out, because to be honest, they also lie. That's the problem. Bro, this happened in Western Europe where Muslims were like, they were basically like even saying that they were lying and saying that they were Christian now, right? And then they weren't sleeper cells. That's the wrong term because a sleeper cell doesn't know they're doing it. But like, you guys know what I mean. Like they were basically waiting, right? Like waiting to attack and basically pretending to be Christian that entire time. So like it's almost hard to like even imagine a legal pathway for like Muslims at all, because it's like if they're going to lie, right, which is built into their doctrine to lie so that they can gain power, and then as soon as they're in power, they implement Sharia law, taqiyya, if that's how you say it, the Taqiyya doctrine. Like, if they're going to do this, how do we let them in at all? How can we let any Muslim in? Can we? Can you even be a Muslim at all? Even if you are living contrary to your religion? So it's like, I don't know. I'm trying to work this out.
Then
I don't even know.
It's a case-by-case basis, and you question them on whether they believe in
I'm saying that Islam in general. Yeah, so this is maybe a good happy medium. Someone said we need Christian nationalism. Then it doesn't matter what they believe because they'll have no power. It's like, yeah, okay, but what if they're like really in deep and like they really implement the Taqiyya doctrine? And, am I saying that right, by the way? Maybe I don't know how to pronounce it properly. But like, what if they were like really in deep and like they run for office, and they're really in deep on the Taqiyya doctrine, and like then they start, and you have like a bunch of them, and they start implementing Sharia law. I don't know, man. I don't know what to do like about these people. I mean, yeah, you could do this. Like, I think this is probably the best answer, right? The best answer is probably like, hey, yeah, it's a requirement to be a Christian to have power. Yeah, but you could have one that's like really in deep on this stuff. So I don't know. I'm open to ideas. As a religion is not compatible with America, and so therefore, if someone is actually abiding by the doctrines of Islam, then they're incompatible with America.
So it's a moral high ground that you're taking. You think all Muslims?
Yeah, because America's yeah, and by the way, 100% agree with this. America's only path to Christian nationhood is the royal path of Holy Orthodoxy. 100% agree. People think when I say Christian nationalism, I'm talking about like the Protestant version of it because that's what people tend to think. I do consider myself a Christian nationalist. However, not like the Protestant version of it. It's obviously I'm an Orthodox Christian nationalist. So just to clarify that point. Christian nation. So
okay,
yeah.
Well, that's your opinion.
No, it's not my opinion. It's in the state constitutions.
Okay, well,
11 out of the 13
so what does that mean? If I'm not Christian, do I have to believe by Christian?
You have to abide by the Christian culture of the country that you're in. Yeah.
Well, technically, you have to abide by the law, and I think that would establish the law.
And the law is informed by Christian doctrine.
Pre-crime,
Yes.
if you have to deport people based on what you think they might do, that's a
So how do we police that? So explain to me this. If you're a Muslim living in the United States of America, and we're going by your standards, which obviously I disagree with, how do we police whether Muslims have this belief system or not? Because as you know, every human being is different. Every Muslim,
a lot of them actually do.
Every Christian is different.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them do.
So how do we police it? Tell me.
Yeah. I mean, I think that you could easily question Muslims. Hey, do you think that if? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think most of them are too stupid. They would just say it. They would like be like, yeah. You could just press them on it. Be like, do you agree with this hadith? Yes. Okay. Deport. Do you agree with this hadith? Yes. Okay. Deport. Like, I mean, like, bro, like if you literally are admitting to me. If you are admitting to me that if you were in power, you would stone to death someone who converts to Christianity, bro, get the hell out of my country. Get the hell out. You are not allowed to be here. So yes, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with this, right?
I'm just go door to door and knock.
I'm just saying as a concept.
And I'm asking you, we go door to door and just question Muslims. Hey, do you believe this?
Why not? This is already downstream from the completion of the remigration plan that I already laid out, and the final layer of it, which I haven't gotten to yet, was crime. So I believe in a prorated system of crime. So basically, if you're third generation and you commit a violent crime or at least $100,000 in debt or in fraud, you should be automatically deported.
What if you're an atheist?
If you're
you don't believe in God.
Hey, can you let me finish?
All right, go ahead.
You can't hold office.
He's not even listening. He's not even listening to what I'm saying. I'm not even talking about. I'm getting to the Muslim thing. It's like downstream. It's like way down. Go door to door with bacon. I'm dead. That'll get rid of the Jews too, man. Yeah. Yeah,
well, in state constitutions.
Yeah. So, anyways, so third generation, 100,000 in fraud or violent crime, automatic deportation. Second generation, any felony, automatic deportation. First generation, I believe if you commit any crime, automatic deportation. So basically, that's going to already get rid of a lot of these migrants. Then you can start to deal with these people that, are incompatible with American culture. Do you believe it's compatible? If a Muslim says, yes, I believe a 20-year-old girl who converts from Islam to Christianity should be stoned to death because she's publicly proclaimed the name of Christ, do you think that person should be able to live in America?
I think
gain power in America.
Okay, there's a lot of people that live in America that have some really awful beliefs. But just because you believe something doesn't mean you're going to do it.
So you think that that is compatible with American culture?
Whether somebody's compatible with American culture or not is not the point. You're asking me a question about
it is the
should
point.
You be,
That's what I'm asking.
Should you be deported if you have a belief that you disagree with? And I say absolutely not.
Okay, well, I say absolutely. I say that is incompatible with American culture. We don't stone people here in America. You can go back to Saudi Arabia or Afghanistan and do that.
No.
We don't do that here.
Okay,
here we don't stone people.
The act of doing it is different than believing.
Okay, but if they're admitting when we take power, we're going to do this to you, then I don't want you in my country. That should not be controversial.
To me, that's not a reasonable thing to say, that you think that just because a Muslim person might have a radical, and by the way, not all Muslims believe in that stuff, okay?
They do, but the hadith for all Sunni Islam, Sahih hadith is authoritative to them.
I don't know. You're friends with Myron Gaines. Does he think that?
I want to read a really funny. Are you able to read that? Or is it too far away?
We need.
It might be too far away, right? Let me zoom in, make it as big as I can.
Is this? What are we talking? What is this? I might know what it is.
Where was it? I just want you to read the.
This looks
I
like
know
a
what
hadith.
this is. This is Joseph's. This is story. His story's a commentary on the.
I thought this was the.
Oh, okay.
There's more than. There's also. There's this. This is, I think, one of the state constitutions, but there's a lot of documents that say that profess this same exact concept.
You can read that line.
Or is this one of the constitutions in the state constitution?
You just read the line.
Okay.
That as it is.
That it is the duty of every man to worship God in such a manner he thinks most acceptable to him. All persons professing the Christian religion are equally entitled to protection in their religion. This might be. Is this the Supreme Court case?
This is the Constitution, the original 1776 Constitution of Maryland, which states.
Yeah. Okay.
All those professing a Christian religion are equally entitled to protection in their liberties. The point being, it's just one example. It goes on to say general and equal text in support of the Christian religion. The original state constitutions were like they had what were they called, like faith tests or whatever.
Yeah.
In order to hold office, you had to publicly pronounce a faith in the Christian God.
Here's what I don't like.
Well, I want to read one. Wait, before we move on from this, because this is so. Joseph Story was one of the. He's one of the first Supreme Court justices to give a commentary on the amendments. He was a Supreme Court justice in the early 1800s, and he gave this commentary on the First Amendment. He said the real object of the amendment was not to countenance, much less advance, Islam or Judaism or infidelity by prostrating Christianity, but to exclude all rivalry among Christian sects and to prevent any national ecclesiastical establishment. So the point of the First Amendment, according to the early founding fathers, was not to allow for things like Islam that are incompatible. No, it was for Christian unity.
Blasphemy was a crime.
There's currently blasphemy laws on the books.
Indeed, the last Supreme Court ruling, I think, was the 50s. If you went outside in 1790 and said Christ is not king, they could arrest you, criminally charge you, or exile you.
So what about atheism? Like, what about people in this country that don't believe in God?
You have to abide by the culture of the nation that you are living in. So that means you have to respect. You can't be out, screaming, that Christ. So all right. So this is a part where I was going to reference the Talmud, and then I was like, I don't want to distract from it because I knew if I referenced it, it would tailspin the conversation. So you're talking about how Christ is like burning in. Okay, I don't want to get into that.
I'll give you an example.
You got to abide by legal norms.
You can go to Saudi Arabia.
So I was about to cite the Talmud, and then I was like, wait, this is gonna derail this conversation if I do that.
But you cannot insult the prophet. You will.
Well, yeah, North Korea, obviously, you can't take down a poster. We know what happened to Otto Warmbier. I mean,
and the United States is the most lax and respectful of non-Christian religions. His point is just that as a nation founded under Christian moral ethics, people who are non-Christians should be deferential to Christian moral ethics.
Yeah, I mean, maybe back in the day before they spoke English, because like Muslims in the 1700s were like foreign like now they're our neighbors. So I understand radical ideology. And if someone
it's
says
not radical though,
if someone says I'm going to commit this heinous act if I get
what I'm telling you is
radical.
I literally do live streams where I talk to these guys, and I have teenagers. I have teenagers that call in. I have middle-aged people that call in.
That is
most
so
of them,
offensive.
80% of them.
Let me tell you a story. You're gonna love this one.
Yeah.
In 2012, I think it might have been, or 2013, YouTube invited me to a special meeting in California to deal with Islamic extremism. They said that one of the problems they had was that, particularly in the UK, but in the United States as well, these accounts were popping up of English-born and English-speaking Muslims trying to radicalize young Muslims to go fight for ISIS. And they were saying it's become such a problem. We see these stories of people in America, the UK, and other countries going to the Middle East to join ISIS. How do we stop it? The issue they found was that the general beliefs of Muslims in the United States, in the West, was one-for-one compatible with ISIS. The lacking issue was a motivation to fight. Yeah. These videos were coming out, again, English speakers from the UK with like a British accent saying, are you really, mate, going to stand by while these people are blah, blah, blah. We got to have the caliphate and you know it. And they were like, it's working. How do we stop it? So a bunch of people were brought in to talk with YouTube on what were potential solutions for stopping Islamic extremism. And I think they were all miserably bad. One of them, like everybody entertained. There was one guy, he was an American Muslim, and he had the only solution, I think. But everybody's solution was like, you need to make videos where you explain to these young Muslims why that's wrong, actually, and you don't want to join the caliphate. And I'm sitting here being like, the problem they've identified is that the religious view of ISIS is one for one with the religious view of the Muslims in these countries. What the problem is that these videos are
it's not actually extremism. It's just Islam. That's the problem, right? This is fundamental. This is why the religion breeds terrorism, because it's inherent to their religion.
Them to go and fight on behalf of it. The only solution that I respected was a guy who said, you need to make a sitcom where the family is Muslim and they don't do Muslim things. So it's a family that is a regular American family where the dad has a regular job. They say things that sometimes passively reference that they're Muslim, but they don't espouse these values. That way, young Muslims in America integrate with what it means to be American. Yeah. And I was like, he's the only one who's right.
There are
extremists. That's not really Muslim then. That's the point. Is like then
he's basically telling
a watered down version of
Well, he was telling
to
Americanize
all the Christians that like aren't really Christian.
Yeah, what about those
that's
people?
The difference. The difference is one is abiding by their book and the other is not abiding by their book. That's the entire.
But I think like 98% of Americans aren't really Christian. They don't espouse the virtues.
Well,
I
would
say they do.
Culturally, I would say the vast majority of them are. Like they abide by the basic Christian ethics.
What do you mean basic
Ian,
though?
What does that mean? Basic.
I come from the Christian.
Brian's a Christian.
I don't think Jesus is
like
fucking
values.
Lord. Like, what are you talking about? How would anyone even know that?
Everyone in this room is only capable of having this conversation because you all abide by Christian
morals. Yes, but that doesn't mean I'm a Christian. I don't identify as a Christian. I'm not a Christian.
Culturally a Christian. That's the point.
I'm culturally.
You have to be.
I'm manipulated by Christianity. Yes, and I've been born and bred through it. But I am not a self-identifying Christian.
What do you mean manipulated?
I was told like this is good. You want to
benefited from it.
I have. Yes, because
which would you prefer? Is it better that 10 guilty persons escape than one innocent person suffer? Or can I ask the question? How about you?
You know my answer?
No, because I didn't finish the question.
Okay, what's your question? I'm in the middle of talking and you want to stop me to ask me a question, bro. I was talking.
Three people are talking. You stopped your sentence. I started talking and you jumped in front of me and answered.
Okay, got it.
I'll ask Brian instead.
Yeah, here we go.
I have a question for you.
I love it when you guys argue.
Which do you prefer? Is it better that 10 guilty persons escape than one innocent person suffer? Or is it better that 10 innocent persons suffer than one guilty person escape?
Well, obviously, define what you mean by escape. What do you mean by escape?
Literal escape, run away, they're gone.
Well, obviously, I don't want anybody to suffer. So obviously, I wouldn't want 10 people to suffer.
So is it better that 10 guilty persons escape than one innocent suffer? Or 10 innocent persons suffer to prevent one guilty from escaping?
That's a really tough question.
This is fun.
I don't know. It's a hard question for me to answer, Tim. I don't know. I don't know. You got me speechless here. I don't know how to answer that. It's a very difficult dilemma.
The reaction from Carter.
If that person escapes, how many people are going to suffer?
Who knows?
That's the question, right?
So the point is, the Christian moral ethic is it is better that 10 guilty persons escape than one innocent person suffer. And the founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin particularly, expounded upon this by saying it's better that 100 guilty persons escape than one innocent person suffer. And it is of communists and dictators historically, and notably Otto von Bismarck, who said it's better that 10 innocent people suffer than one guilty escape. And so there's a reason why that doesn't work, and there's a reason why the Soviet Union only lasted 69 years. Yeah. And this is a Christian moral ethic founded in Blackstone. It's called Blackstone's formulation, and Blackstone wrote about this his concept is a summation of the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. If there's but one righteous man, I will not destroy these towns. The founding fathers
he kind of
contemplated
misquotes.
this. And
It
again,
wasn't
the
one.
Bill of Rights, the laws, they're all founded in Christian moral ethics. The founding fathers talked about it, and they said, it's an interesting point, but you made the point. If 10 guilty persons escape, how many innocent people are going to suffer?
Right.
So you might get substantially more suffering, right? And so Benjamin Franklin and a bunch of smart-ass mugs are like, how about this? Everybody can have guns, okay? And you will take responsibility if these guilty persons come at you.
Yeah.
We will not be the ones to torture innocent people. And the logic was written down, and it's brilliant. A society that tells the innocent you'll be punished regardless is a society that ends up in lawlessness and corruption out of fear that even if you're a good person, they will destroy you. A society that tells people we will do everything in our power to preserve the innocent and your rights, even among those who may be guilty, is a society where individuals seek to be as noble as they can be, knowing that the government will work tirelessly to
Do
protect
you
their
believe in the
innocence.
separation between church and state?
I don't believe there's such a thing.
Well,
W answer by Tim. W answer by Tim. This one caught me off guard. I was kind of shocked that he was going to be on my side on this because this is what everybody likes to talk about. And by the way, this is dying. The fact that separation of church and state has grown to the level that it has as far as popularity and people think it's like it's like a founding principle. Bro, it wasn't. It was in a letter written in passing. Jefferson mentions separation of church and state, and all he means is that they're just not the same entity, which as Orthodox, we agree with. They're not the same entity. The church has, of course, influence over the government. That's unquestionable. It always has been that way, and it's inevitable, right, by the way. Whatever religion, because secularism is a religion, right? So if secularism is your influence on the government, that's still... right, that's still not the separation of church and state that you're advocating for.
I do.
No, I don't.
Founding fathers didn't believe in it.
There's no such thing.
Founding fathers also believed in owning human beings. So, I mean,
Okay, but if we're talking about the founding documents and the principles brought forward, the separation of church and state was not a thing.
See how leftists do this, by the way? They're like, as soon as you cook them on what the founding fathers actually believed, then they start throwing the founding fathers under the bus, right? But then they'll try to, separation of church and state is what he cited. That's from Jefferson. So he tries to leverage. It's basically special pleading. Yeah, and please like and subscribe, guys. We got another about 30 minutes left.
And it's not been a thing in literally any
what I'm
country
asking you
ever.
now.
No, I don't.
Your belief on that. I don't want policy to be designed by your religion.
It is.
Well,
I will say
this.
this.
Depends on the
It is
religion.
not possible.
Yeah, you heard me in the background say, it happens that way whether you like it or not, right? It just happens that his religion is secularism.
Separate government from religion. Religion is moral philosophy and ideology. And if you take out Christian moral ethics, you'll get some other moral ethic guiding your law. I would prefer the Bill of Rights, Blackstone's formulation, which are founded in Christian moral ethics, over, say, Chinese communist.
Yeah. Here's my problem. Part of my problem with his argument, in that, yes, of course, radical Islam, dangerous. It's all bad. I get all that. Okay, but there are not. Every single Muslim doesn't believe in stoning people. Okay, there are Muslims in this country.
The majority do. Pew Research has done polls.
Okay,
you the majority of Muslims.
You can say that the majority do,
it's
but you're
Pew
not
Research.
saying.
But how many people were polled?
Yeah.
It's Pew Research. You can take it up with the
You said
pollers.
that 3 times. How many people were polled?
There was many different polls. We'd have to pull up the actual specific polls.
Okay, show me one.
Yeah, I didn't have the actual poll. The one that Tim ends up pulling up, I think, has 38,000 members.
Okay, yeah. Is there radical Christians in this country?
Apostasy laws.
Are there radical Christians in this
Not
country?
that believe in stoning.
Yeah,
really?
Not that believe in
Yeah.
Not radical Christians,
and they're
What
not
do they
relevant,
commit
bro.
murder?
The Global Terrorism Index, all of them are basically the top 10 are all Muslim organizations.
The radical Christians instantiated the hunting down of apostates for 1,000 years. Radical religion in general.
What are you talking about?
When the Catholic Church went and did the...
You're talking about the Spanish Inquisition?
The Inquisition.
38,000 Muslims.
There was just only a couple thousand people, by the way, that were actually impacted by that. So yeah, I mean, but and there's, by the way, there are people that out there that defend, because the Spanish Inquisition in many ways was actually a response to now I'm gonna forget what the name of it is, the Taqiyya doctrine or whatever, because that was actually a problem that they were having. Was with all the people that were pretending to convert. So that was the result. That was the Spanish Inquisition was a I'll be doing members only stream at the end. was a response to that?
So they polled 38,000 out of how many?
38,000 Muslims, 80 different languages in 39 countries.
Whoa,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's global. That's not a
broad
U.S.
And what was the
poll.
percentage for apostasy laws in favor?
So let me.
Let me pull that
so
up.
I've got the Pew.
Point
I'll
that
pull it up.
While you're looking
just
that
said
up,
80
the
different
point that I was
countries,
trying to make is that there are radicals in every religion.
The point
in
is
this country.
the point that he's making.
Every religion.
The point that
Wait, hold on. None of them support women's rights. Okay.
Ryan, the point that he's making.
So
is
they're
that
all Myron Gaines. That's what.
Why-
you're
why-
Why do you think he's like that?
The point that he's making. The point
Support
that
Myron. I'm okay with that.
Ryan, the point that everyone is making is it's not radical Muslims. That is
it's
the
Islam.
general opinion.
No, Ben
of
said that it
people
was
are
American Muslims were mostly radical. Then he pulled a global poll. That's not an American poll.
No.
point that
my
we're
claim-
making-
My claim about the
Islam.
apostasy laws was Muslims in general. I wasn't talking just about American Muslims.
Yeah.
And by the way, a lot of them, when they're here, of course, are going to lie. That's actually built into their doctrine. So that's also another problem we have to figure out how to fix. But listen, the reality is 10 out of the top 10 global terrorist index terrorist organizations in the world, they're all Muslim. They're not Christian. So you could talk about anomalies in Christianity, but that's what they are. They're anomalies. They're outliers. They are extremely rare.
You got to see that the Muslims consider the Christians terrorists. They think the Americans are the terrorists.
That's great. They can do that over in Afghanistan and Saudi Arabia and the UAE. We got our countries over here, and they should stay out of them.
But like calling them terrorists.
88. So in Egypt, 88%, bro. 88% believe in the death penalty for apostasy. Jordan, 82%. Afghanistan, 79%. Pakistan, 76%. Malaysia, 62%. Palestinian territories, 66%. Bro, this is not radical Islam. This is just Islam.
Because they're the bad guys in your perspective.
They're terrorists because they want to stone people.
They all
for
hate
leaving their
suicide
religion.
bombings, though. They overwhelmingly in every country reject suicide bombings. That's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
We got to get questions. We got questions. I got to get these questions in. Okay. So let's start here with our good friend SWCPT.
There was
question for Brian. If laws are derived from the consent of the governed, and the governed cannot change the laws, do those laws need to be followed? Because Brian keeps deriving his argument from the idea that misdemeanors are not a deportable offense, but we know that most Americans want illegal immigrants.
Never said that. I never
deported.
said that misdemeanors.
Let me just finish. Then you can.
Okay, go ahead.
So either Brian actually believes objective truth exists embodied in the law, and government is derived from these subjects, and it's a lot of fun. But
I would think this is the part where he asked me about this.
we are over time,
I
so
wanna show
smash
you.
the like button, share the show,
Oh,
subscribe.
wait, maybe not. Hang on a second. I got to back it up.
He didn't care that I was Asian,
That's
white,
not
whatever.
the way everybody thinks, unfortunately. I agree with
and
you.
fuck those people. Fuck them.
Yeah, I agree.
And so when they say we want the president just because he's black, me and my friends of various racial backgrounds were like, I don't want to live in that world, dude.
Well, I
But,
think
okay.
a lot of black people that he brings
Well, in the
up
United
is black
States-
people committing crimes.
So the first thing was the image of God.
I think black people are created in the image of God. Oh yeah, here. I think that this is it.
We had a
There is
debate.
truth.
We had an Orthodox versus Catholic debate, and it was
Yeah.
the hottest. Like, you think this is agitated? Like, these people were screaming and like.
Yeah, it was Tim Gordon and Jay, right?
And I think so. And they were like reading Latin, and I'm like, this is wild.
Yeah, I think it was Tim
Sure,
Gordon and
Nathan
Jay
Dyer,
Dyer.
What do you
yeah.
think
All right.
about black people?
Bro, what do I think about black
Yeah,
people?
just in general. What do you
like
think?
black
I think black people are created in the image of God, and I think that they disproportionately commit violent crime. That's just
So the first thing he brings
Well, in the
up
United
is black
States-
people committing crimes.
So the first thing was
I
the
brought up
image
was
of
that they're created
God.
in the image of God. Actually,
Yeah.
you just lied about what I said. I said the first thing I said is that they're created in the image of God.
And what was the second thing you said?
Yeah, is it true or false that they disproportionately commit violent crime? Is that a true or false statement?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons for that.
Okay, yeah, socioeconomic.
no.
I was hoping that he was going to say socioeconomic because if you look at the data, yeah, that was a great debate, the one between Tim Gordon and Jay. But if you look at the data, like low income white populations commit less crime than high income black populations. So it's clearly not only socioeconomic, it's mostly related to IQ. But anyways, all right, so that's it for that React. So that was my appearance on Tim Pool, my first of many, Lord willing. Like I said, I'm supposed to go back on to Debate a Muslim on whether Muslims belong in America. It's actually going to be I've been talking with Hassan Shibli, who is like a Muslim scholar. He's actually a good dude. And so we've been chatting, and I don't think it's going to be like a blood sports debate. I think it'll be a good debate, which is good because I don't want anyone going after my family because that sucks. He's like close with Dan Bilzerian too, so he seems like a solid guy. So it'll be a good debate. It'll be a good conversation. It's definitely who I want to have that conversation with. So, all right, I'm going to dive into the super chats here. So thank you to the resident Indian for the Indian tax, as always. Tom Homan was appointed by Obama and given the Presidential Award for Outstanding Service for deporting nearly 1 million illegals. But Orange Man bad. Yes, thank you, 40 Crush, for the super chat. This is a great point. A lot of basically Trump's immigration policies are not really unique to him. It's just that they like to make a demon out of him. Steph says, go Mets. God bless you, Ben. Also, WTKO by Justin. I don't know, man. I don't know. Got to root for my Orthodox brother. Mongo, thank you for the super chat. Hey, Ben, late to the stream. Are you familiar with the City of London and U.S. war against the remnant of British European Empire, stable coins, and oil? So I have recently started to kind of educate myself on this. So my understanding is like this is the people who say there's like a layer deeper than JQ. They're like, guys, this is all actually about the City of London, and which I find to be very suspect. Listen, it's all satanic, bro. It's all like this is why the left and right wing Jews have such synergy, right? Is because of the Satanism, right? Satan is manipulating them both, right? So this is probably just another example of that. Maybe there's something to it, maybe there's not. To be honest, I'm not educated enough to speak on it yet. I'm still kind of looking into it. But this is usually like the rebuttal of people that are like anti-JQ. They're like, God, this is like, guys, it's not actually the Jews. It's actually all about the City of London. And it's like, there is some weird stuff with some British bankers. I'm not gonna lie, that's true. But anyways, I don't know if I really buy it. Okay, wait, where did my shoot? Hang on a second, guys. I gotta pull up my YouTube stream for the so I can do the members only chat. Hey, while I do this, thank you guys for tuning in today. This was a good stream back. Sorry that I missed pretty much all last week. Well, I did miss all of last week. Like I said, I was traveling. So I'm back on schedule this week. I think I'll have all 3 streams this week. That's my plan right now. And let's see here. Yeah, okay, I'll be able to set it up. All right, so we're gonna do a members only here. We're gonna start it in 1 minute. All right, we're cutting to members only in 1 minute, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're interested in my members only stream where I'm going to talk about the UFC fighter I saw at Liturgy, you can sign up for memberships. Other than that, I'll see you guys on Thursday at 2 o'clock Eastern. I might go live on TikTok tonight to get my next, I have to do a 3 quota thing to be able to get streams over here. So I probably will go live on TikTok tonight, so you can tune into that. I'm at Real Ben Michael on all platforms, including TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Please like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed to my channel. And yes, other than that, I will see you guys on Thursday. Tune in, 2 o'clock Eastern time. I will be live, and I'll be reacting to a hot topic debate. So tune into that. Other than that, angels be with all of you. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see my members here